have been a fan of NDTV for a long time.
Many of the nominees are extremely close together in terms of what they've done.
Gender parity to be reflected while we choose leadership as well.
It's also important that how they are reshaping the industries.
We got a fantastic jury and we've left all decisions to the wisdom of the jury.
Who will earn India's top business honors?
Hello and welcome to NDTV Profit. You are tuned into Crypto Minutes powered by CoinSwitch for your daily dose of news and updates from the crypto world with me, Sharad Dubey. Now let's take a look at the top headlines. Bitcoin reclaims the $65,000 mark on positive regulatory sentiment. US spot Bitcoin ETFs notch second week of $273 million worth of inflows. Europe gets Bitcoin-backed preferred stock. South Korea eyes September launch for the second phase of CBDC pilot. The Bitcoin has reclaimed the $65,000 mark, and remember, it has been driven by positive sentiment around the US Regulatory Clarity Act. Now, the anticipation of this, remember the full form is the Digital Asset Market Clarity Act. Clarity, that's the passage is getting approved. Now, the institutional liquidity inflows and a technical rebound from the oversold conditions is aiding the overall Bitcoin sentiment. Well, looking at the 13 US spot Bitcoin ETFs, they have driven in roughly $273 million of net inflows over the last 2 weeks. Now, breaking this roughly 2 months of outflows. Now, this shows that there is an institutional demand returning, and the commentators do note that the flows appear to be sensitive to two things. First is, of course, the US macro data, and the second being Fed expectations. Bitcoin Treasury Capital AB has launched a Bitcoin-backed preferred stock in Sweden, adding another example of how corporate Bitcoin Treasury strategies are moving beyond the United States of America. The product, which is listed as a Bitcoin Pref, is designed to give eligible investors exposure to preferred equity instruments which are actually connected to a Bitcoin Treasury model. And the last deep dive is that the Bank of Korea may launch a second phase of Project Hangang, which is its wholesale central bank digital currency, which is a CBDC pilot project, as early as September. Now, the next stage expands participation to 9 banks from 7, introducing new payment features and tests government subsidy disbursements through tokenized bank deposits. And before we wrap, here's a quick check to the changes to the crypto prices over the last 24 hours, and a good momentum is coming across most of the crypto classes, and Bitcoin going up 1%, but Ethereum, that is where follow-on buying is happening much more, and the overall support resistance band ranges between $64,000 to $66,000 when it comes to Bitcoin. Time now to take a look at the crypto strategy for the day. Here's what's there to keep in mind. The market outlook is slowly turning cautiously optimistic. Now, of course, this uptick is fueled by the regulatory hope. We discussed about the Clarity Act earlier, and also some concrete liquidity injections are happening. But Ethereum and regulatory sensitive tokens are leading the pack right now. And if these volumes sustain going ahead in spot markets, we can see further up move happening in across the crypto space. Now, as we wrap, remember you can reach out to CoinSwitch's dedicated helpline where anyone can connect with the in-house experts to get their queries resolved. Whether it's about crypto, regulations, taxation, or the broader industry, the team is available to provide guidance and help users make informed decisions. Well, that's all on this edition of Crypto Minutes powered by CoinSwitch. Thank you so much for tuning in.
welcome back to NDTV Profit. You're watching Ask Profit. My name is Puneet Zaveri. With me is Som Sarkar, and over the next hour or so, we'll try and solve all those stock-related queries. Before we do that, quick check of how the markets are doing, because just in the last half an hour, we have lost about 50 points on the Nifty 50, so trading around the 24,190 mark and continuing to be slightly under pressure. So we'll watch out for those moves. Today, of course, is the weekly expiry for the Nifty, so you have to watch out for some volatility coming through. Let's also look at the Bank Nifty as well. Yesterday was largely consistently under pressure, led by the banking earnings reaction, and you saw that across the board. Today, largely flat yet again. So you saw some buying at the start of the trading session, and then you've seen some deceleration yet again. If you look at the heat map for the Nifty 50 though, yesterday, of course, was a clear move on the banking side towards negatives. Today, you're seeing some good moves coming in on Shriram Finance as well as Bajaj Finserv. Those are the top two gainers for the Nifty 50 today. While HDFC Bank is seeing second consecutive day of being under pressure, the biggest loser for the Nifty 50. Infosys also is under pressure, so is TCS. And Eternal, before earnings tomorrow, is also down around 1%. Amongst others, you saw Trent having a good day yesterday, is almost flattish right now with a 0.18% downtick. But also, when you look at the sectoral heat map, yesterday, as I mentioned, was a clear day where the Nifty IT was doing well. You also had the Nifty PSU Bank Index do well today on the sectoral heat map. But today, when you look at those moves as well, you are seeing some on the Nifty Media, but very marginally, just a 0.4% uptick. Nifty Realty a 0.2%, and in terms of the declines too, it's not too pronounced. So you're seeing a sideways kind of momentum today. Of course, majority of the sectoral heat map showing you largely in the red, but they are continuing to be not as pronounced today. Also, the advanced decline ratio, before we start taking your stock related queries as well, you've seen, of course, in terms of the advances slightly inching up versus declines yesterday. Today though, it's very neck and neck right now. So almost 1,300 stocks, 1,400 stocks that are declining right now, and that continues to be a very important trend that we are looking out as well. But that largely seems to be the broader market trend. If you can pull up the BSE 500 too for these individual movers right now and get that perspective too. You're seeing some on Biocrop, UBL, Nuvoco Vistas, yet again buying seen after what we have seen a very strong set of numbers in terms of Relaxo and Kempla Sanmar. That are some of the other ones. Rallis on the back of results also down right now. But let me welcome in our guest for today, Ajit Mishra, SVP Research at Religare Broking, and Asta Jain, Senior Research Analyst at Hem Security, is now joining in. Both of you, thanks so much for joining in today. Let me go across, take the first stock-related queries, and this one is between a couple of names, Gland Pharma or Neogen Chemicals. What's a better pick for the next 2 years is the question. Asta, good morning. Welcome to the show. Anything between those two that you like right now for the longer term?
Hi, good morning to everyone out there. So out of Gland Pharma and Neogen Chemical, I suppose Gland Pharma is a better choice to go on, and hence recommend buy on this counter. Now, if I talk about the Gland Pharma counter, first of all, there are certain expectations because we are already into the result season. So there are certain expectations from the Q1 perspective, and those expectations, if Gland Pharma able to fulfill properly, then definitely markets will give a thumbs up to that. In that, we are expecting a strong revenue growth with the margin improvement, and we will also be watching how their US business growth is likely to be pan out, along with the recovery in their product mix, etc. So right now we are just watching about the results to be coming in. But if I have to choose in between these two, then definitely I would like to go with the Glen Pharma. The only advice is that enter into this counter if possible after result declaration, and just closely watch the EBITDA also along with the revenue growth and the kind of product mix this company is showing, and what is the guidance they are posting for FY27.
Right, the next query is coming in from Anil Nair from Abu Dhabi. He is holding 800 shares of Jubilant Ingravia, bought at a price of 783. He wants to know whether should he continue to hold this counter or sell. Ajit, any view on Jubilant Ingravia?
Hi, good morning, Sumit. Sumit, I believe that he has been holding this from almost a year now, and finally he's seeing his price coming back. So that, maybe he might be interested in knowing the short-term outlook. Near term, it looks like that we are close to the hurdle area. Means 780 is prime price close to around this area. We have immediate resistance and major around 840 mark. So the ideal approach is to now maintain at least a trailing stop loss at 730 mark, which is the recent base before we saw this up move in today's session. And gradually can trail his stop losses on every rise. So moment, let's say we inch toward 820, 840 mark, he can trail his stop loss to 800 and keep on holding his position.
Got the view, Ajit, and welcome to the show. The next question, and this one's been on everyone's mind today, SBI funds. Let's look at what it's doing right now. Almost a 7% uptick in terms of listing gains today on the IPO. A big one that we were tracking today, of course, all day today, down up almost 8% now. And we have viewer queries coming in. A few of them, like Shiv Kumar as well as Ishwar, are asking us about this IPO. Now, Ishwar specifically mentioned that he had applied but did not get any allotment. Wanted to know about the overall AMC sector, if it's a good bet right now, because he's also invested in ICICI AMC. Astaf, so two-part question here. What was the recommendation, of course, for SBI funds? Is it still a good time to buy after that 8% listing gains? And for Ishwar specifically, since he's holding ICICI AMC too, can he add SBI funds to that portfolio?
So first of all, on the AMC sector, we are quite bullish because we find this sector to be a high growth sector, and with the growth in the Indian economy, definitely AMC sector will going to have a boost. Now, talking about SBI Fund Management IPO, yes, we did cover that IPO and given a subscribe rating to it for the listing gain as well as long-term perspective, and hence we believe that some of the investors have really, are happy. Although the listing gains are not very whopping, but still 7 to 8% looking after the size of the issue looks to be a decent return. So now my idea here is SBI Fund Management is looking good to us because there are various points. First of all, strong parentage, which this company is holding, along with the kind of asset under management they are having. They have got the largest asset under management. And this is a very, the business model is very attractive because it is asset light business model. So kind of margins these companies are earning are really very, very strong. Now, if I have to choose any one between the ICICI and SBI fund, then definitely I would like to go with ICICI. So ICICI Prudential is also looking good to us, and hence our investor has already that stock in their portfolio. So I think there is no need to invest in the SBI fund management, at least at this point of a time when we are seeing 8% premium listing. Just wait for some more time to settle the price and then make any sort of entry if he want to expand his portfolio with another AMC stock. Otherwise, ICICI AMC is also looking good to us.
Okay, the next is the next query is coming in from Malika, and it's on Park MediWorld. She has invested at Park MediWorld at a price of around 290. She wants to know whether should she add more at current levels or avoid. Astha, any view?
So 290 is the price. So my idea here is just stay invested in this counter because what we believe that the financial performance this company has posted was very strong. In fact, the kind of capacity expansion, in fact, they are doing in their beds is very, very strong, because what I believe that company has added around 610 beds during FY26, if I'm right with my memory. So, I mean, the bed addition is very strong. Acquisition-led growth is what this company is doing right now. So, yes, the fundamental seems to be very strong for this counter. But rather than adding at this point of a time, I believe just let the results come in and then make any sort of entry or averaging out or make further additions into this counter. So, just stay invested in this counter at this point of a time because cost price is 290. So, we are not very far behind that cost price.
Got it. Well, let's go across to Hyderabad now. We have a first call for today. Kiran joining in for a stock-related query. Kiran, good morning. Welcome to the show. What's your query?
Hi, good morning to everyone. I'm a regular viewer of NDTV, and from last 3 months, I'm regularly noting down all the points what your panelists say also. So just recently, on 9th July, I bought Titan shares of 220 numbers with 4659. So that day it was little bit growing, and your panelist before day, she told that her name I don't remember, but she's from Motilal Oswal. So I heard and I took those shares on that day. From that day it's coming down, but it's not at all going up. And I want to know whether I can keep for some days, or I should. What should I do? I want to know regarding this.
Got it. And Kiran, firstly, thanks so much for being a regular viewer, staying with us as well. So because this was a fundamental view that you taken, or was it a technical one from an analyst at that time?
No, I was checking fundamental derivatives, everything I was checking, and meanwhile I was on that day I came to your channel, and I spoke to her. She told it's a very good share and it can go up.
Got it. So let me actually then go to Astha then, because this the amount of allocation that you've done also of almost 220 shares on Titan is a big one. Astha, we've seen, of course, a good quarterly update come through for the company. Would you recommend Kiran to continue holding? How are you looking at the valuations?
So here I would like to mention that, see, there are various points which are really working well for the company. First of all, good quarterly updates in which 41% growth they have mentioned about their revenue. In fact, they have done very strong addition of these stores. Around 77 stores they have added, which they have given in their, quarterly update. Now, what the problem is? The problem is with the valuation, because right now it is trading at a high valuation of 75 to 85 price to earning multiple. So what happened when markets are not in a good shape, as we all know, due to these, poor global factors, the markets are really in a volatile mood. So in such mood, and when valuations are high, definitely those stocks are not able to show their performance. So that might be one of the reason that the stock is not working. There is no other reason. Fundamentals are very strong, but the valuations are high and markets are not in a good shape. So what you should do, you should just wait for this counter. Maybe it will test your patience. Maybe it will, let you wait for some more time, because I think after results declaration, let's see how they declare their results, how the valuations pan out after the result declaration, and then make any sort of move. But this is a counter which is a good long-term story to bet upon. Maybe in the short term, due to the high valuation as well as market condition, we are seeing a downturn in these stock prices. But don't worry, in the long term, it will definitely show some sort of positive move. So just wait and watch and just give more time to this counter.
The next query is coming in from Christopher from Chandigarh. He is holding 700 shares of Vatek Wabag, bought at a price of 1,539. He wants to know whether should he buy more at current price. Ajit, any view on this?
So Samit, very strong directional move is something that the stock has experienced. We are at the record highs. It's been almost 2 weeks now that we are consolidating in a tight band, but maintaining the positive bias means we are still holding over the 20 EMA mark. So in case if the view is short term also, he can consider accumulating the stock further. Now 1950, that is the area basically where we have the immediate base. So with that as a stop loss, he can definitely consider adding more to his position. Above 2150, we will see the next leg of the up move. Upside is open since we are at the record high, so he should consider trailing stop losses on rise. So as of now, 1950 with the stop at 1950, you can definitely consider adding more to his position.
Got it. Also, Ajit, on RR Kabel as well, viewers holding shares at 2,000 odd rupees. He's holding 200 shares, and this is Nandagopal asking if it's a good to hold for the next 6 months. Would you recommend that?
Puneet, we have seen a very strong, move in some of these cable-related counters, and RR Cable also has almost doubled in last 3-4 months. So now we are seeing more of time-wise consolidation since he has bought it at lower level, and stock is still consolidating after this recent move. You can definitely continue to stay put with the 3 to 6 month of time horizon. The recent swing low close to around 2150. That's the support area. That's the stop loss area. We should consider, considering that we are in the middle of the earnings season and we may see volatile swings post the earning announcement. Upside, once let's say the stock surpasses 2500 mark, we are set for 3000 plus levels. So it's a hold with 2150 at present for the upside potential of 2500 is the immediate target, and then 3000 plus.
Got it. Well, it's now time for the rapid fire round. Ajit as well as Asti, you know the drill. Keep your answers as short as possible so that we can take as many queries now. Next, first one's coming from Keshav, who's from Chennai on delivery. He's holding shares at 495. Can he hold for the next 3 years, Astha? Astha, I think you're on mute.
I'm sorry. Yes, hold this counter from next 3-year perspective. Initial price target can be set at around 520 to 530.
The next query is on SJV and it's for you, Abhijit. 1,000 shares is the viewer holding, bought at a price of 85. Should he continue to hold? The stock has been seeing selling pressure.
Use recovery to reduce, overall trend is down.
Next one, Ajit, on Blue Dart as well. Muthu from Chennai is holding shares at 6502. So he's down almost 20-25% from those levels. Should he still continue to hold?
Hold, but maintain the stop at 4,600 and use recovery to reduce because the overall trend is still down.
The next query is on Vedanta Aluminium. It's for you, Astha. Balwant Modi from Rajkot wants to know whether should he enter Vedanta Aluminium for long term at current levels.
Not at the current price, at a lower price of around 420 to 450.
Next one is from Prem from Kuwait. He's been holding on to Lupin for the last 2 years at 2389. Astha, should he still continue to hold or should he switch it up?
Continue to hold with the price target of 2550.
The next query is for you, Astha. It's on MTAR Tech. Lakshmi from Hyderabad wants to know at what price should he start buying MTAR Tech for long term.
For long term, maybe at a price level of around 5300 is a good entry point.
The next one coming from Shankar on Tata Capital. He's been holding shares at 351. Ajit wants a 3-month view on the stock. We've not seen too many wild moves on this counter, barring that one day. But would you recommend that?
So recent listing, Puneet, and as you rightly mentioned, after this recent up move, we are seeing volatile swings. 340 is the stop loss area with immediate target at 375.
Next query is for you, Abhijit. It's on it's on Gravita. Ajit wants to the viewer wants to know, it's for you, Ajit, and the viewer wants to know at what level should he enter Gravita.
So you can buy at current levels. 1670 is now the support area. Upside potential 2200 mark.
Next one's on Piramar Finance. Shriram is holding shares at 1386. Should he continue to hold, Astha?
Piramar Finance is a hold from our side, and price target can be set at around 2250.
Next query is for you, Ajit. It's on Blue Dart. Muthu from Chennai is holding 10 shares, bought at a price of 6,500. The stock is down 25%. Should he hold, buy or sell?
We have already discussed, Sumit. With 4600, he can continue to hold and use recovery to reduce.
Next one's on IDFC. Navendu has bought these shares at 80 and has been holding on for a while. Astha, in Q1, what can he expect? Because, post that regulatory update, we've seen a sideways momentum. So, should he wait for Q1 results and then take a call?
I think yes, wait for Q1 is a better choice at this point of the time. So just hold this counter.
Next query is for you, Ajit. It's on Eternal. Nagaraj from Bangalore is holding few shares of Eternal, bought at a price of 289. Can he hold or should he sell?
Hold with stop at 278. Upside potential 305.
Next one's on Vinity Organics actually. Dilip from Kolkata is holding shares at 1332. Should he still hold on to this one, Astha?
1332, yes, definitely a hold for this counter. Price target can be set at around 1380 to 1390.
The next query is for you, Astha. It's on ITC. Padmanabhan wants to know whether should he enter ITC at current levels for long term.
No, maybe at the lower level of around 275 to 270.
Got it. And the last query for the rapid fire, this one's on Force Motors. Ajit from Kolkata wants to enter this counter. Ajit, what are some of the key levels to watch out for? Has been volatile. What's your view?
Yes, and in fact, it's gradually drifting lower. So close to around 16,500 is a good area to look for fresh accumulation.
Got it. Well, that was the last question as mentioned. But Ajit, we'll let you go on that note. Thanks so much for joining in today, giving us your view on a lot of stock-related queries. Astha, stay on. We'll be right back after this very short break to answer all your stock-related queries.
Superstar Stocks of the Day, presented by Tata Azura. हर रास्ते का सुपरस्टार.
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
We are over, Jimmy.
Hey, लाइफ में स्क्रैचेस तो आएंगे। गाड़ी के स्क्रैचेस को तो कॉस्मो पीपी अब संभाल लेगा, आप अपना देख लो।
अंबा शक्ति प्लांट की वर्ल्ड रेनाउंड टेक्नोलॉजी देती है स्टील को ज्यादा ताकत हर बार। अंबा शक्ति SDTMT।
जानते हैं मैं एलीट मैट्रिमोनी क्यों रेकमेंड करता हूं? 17 years of experience, largest database of elite profiles, और 100% confidentiality. Elite Matrimony, India's most successful matchmaking service for the elite.
India Inc.'s most respected names chose India Inc.'s best and brightest.
These kind of awards and jury lineup, you are truly giving it the right weightage.
I think it's heartening to see talent that there is across India Inc. We should be awarding companies and individuals who have focused not only on growth but also on bringing good governance.
Be part of jury and vote on the people, the men, the women, the companies in India who have the right stuff is a great opportunity for us.
For us, the biggest thing is trust. That's what we provide. We need leaders in India that can help take India being a global superpower.
We got a fantastic jury and we've left all decisions to the wisdom of the jury.
Who will earn India's top business honors? Find out at the NDTV Profit Business Leadership Awards. India's unshakable news habit. NDTV.com is India's #1 English news website.
From a PwC standpoint, we actually set up criterion for each of the categories that we discussed with NDTV. A criterion was set up. Different KPIs were adopted for different categories. These are of course discussed, internally. We challenged ourselves, etc., and we made sure that the data sources are all very robust, so that the trust could be built in. So I think that's what defined, and of course, we eventually went through the jury process, and I'm glad the KPIs, if I may call it so, for the winners.
Welcome back. You're watching Ask Profit right here on NDTV Profit. If you haven't already done so, do send in your stock-related queries and we'll take that up with our guest. The WhatsApp number is flashing on the top of your screen. The landline number too is, and you can call us on that number to speak to our guest as well. But let's continue with those stock-related queries as well. The first one and this one's. But as we go through with those, let's also cut into the SBI Funds press conference.
I will request everyone to ask one question each. We'll first start with preferably with the print and the online media, and then we'll move on to the television. Shahab will give the guidance on the questions.
You can start with CNBC first question.
And we have 20 minutes.
We have 20 minutes to.
Sir, first of all, thank you so much for having us here, and congratulations to all three winners, I would say, SBI Funds, and of course Amundi. One question to each of you, sir. As far as the bank itself is concerned, I want to ask, of course, we've had the listing of SBI Funds Management today. There are just two subsidiaries now which remain unlisted, large ones, the general one and the pensions. Which one is next, and would it be this financial year or next financial year? The next one is for SBI Funds. I want to understand as far as, certain things. First one, the impact of TER specifically on the margins, the recent changes which were made, and the road ahead for TER. Do you see further tightening in any form? Second thing, mutual fund being allowed as collateral for MTF, how do you see that working for the industry? And finally, as far as for Amundi is concerned, we've seen this trend that once AMCs get listed on exchanges, the foreign partner there tends to sort of value unlock after listing. We've seen that in HDFC, we've seen that in ICICI Prudential. What is Amundi's stance here? 2 years, 3 years down the line, would we have you holding the same amount of conviction in terms of your holding in the company going ahead? Thank you so much.
So let me start thanking all the stakeholders for the wonderful response what we have got for the IPO of SBI Funds Management Limited. And I probably would not be able to answer his question to me for two reasons. One is we are in silent period. It will be seen as forward-looking statement. But more importantly, I think it is SBI Funds moment. I think let us enjoy that. But having said that, there are definitely a financial institution, State Bank of India, has helped to grow through our subsidiaries route. And now currently with SBI Funds Management, we have 3 subsidiaries listed. And we would definitely look for opportunities of listing as they evolve and mature and reach a stage where, the listing makes sense. Thank you very much.
Okay, on the fund side, sir, I have 2 questions pending. I'm sorry.
Thank you, media, and thank you for support today. Sir, as already mentioned, we are also in silent period, so difficult communicating any statement. But what is done before, the TER is now VER. Yes. So we have already, it is now revenue neutral on that. We have already mentioned road shows. So our accounting system already taken care of that. And going ahead, you said collaterals, it is a industry related scenario which will request AMPI and others to look at it very carefully.
Okay, sir, final question.
Maybe on Amundi, SBI FM is a translation of a very strong partnership between SBI and Amundi. It has been a long journey for us. This partnership has lasted for 20 years, but I want to say it's only the beginning. And we are a very happy shareholder of SBI FM. We will continue to build this partnership, to grow together, and we will continue to be there alongside SBI for a very long time.
Thank you so much and congratulations again.
Anurag from ET Now. Anurag Joshi, ET Now. Congratulations, Seti sir, on the successful completion of you. My question to you is that it's been a 15-year partnership with Amundi. You have successfully completed an IPO. Now, going forward, how is SBI planning to take the partnership with Amundi forward? And to Mr. Nicolas Calcon, my question to you is that is Amundi looking at boosting your investments to India? What is your outlook to India currently? And in terms of even the riskometer, how do you see India in terms of risk?
I'll go first.
Of course.
This is a long-term relationship. As Nicolas said, I think this divestment, I think a lot of people asked us that why this listing now? SBI FM doesn't require capital, is a capital light industry. And similarly, SBI and Amundi did not look for any capital raising. But I think we believe, both of us believe that such a large AMC not being listed, I think is not systemically good, and we wanted to bring a large AMC to the market. So, having said that, this listing does not change anything on our relationship and partnership. Very interestingly, Amundi, in several roadshows has publicly mentioned that while Amundi is best of international practices used to be brought to India, now SBI FM best practices and India's best practices of mutual fund are taken internationally. I think this relationship would continue for a long time. Nikolai, over to you.
I can only confirm what the chairman said. We will continue to develop and together to make sure that the SBI FM is developing in India, and we'll continue to bring what we bring. Of course, I would say our international expertise in asset management, but more and more indeed to translate and to transmit to SBI FM the interest, the growing interest we see from international investors for Indian assets. India is, of course, a very rapidly expanding economy. There's more and more interest from international investors, and we will continue to bring this interest into the expertise of SBI FM.
NDTV Profit. Thank you, sir. I have two questions. First, Mr. Sethi. Mr. Sethi, of course, SBI's parentage was very important to the listing here and pushing this forward. How strong, how did SBI approach this listing? In that sense, how did that brand name sort of build out the reputation and the premium that this listing has brought through? If you could take us through that a little bit. Similar question to you, Mr. Calgo. With Amundi's role here, what sort of role did you play in getting this IPO forward and building this out in the way it did?
So coming to SBI, I think it's not only the largest distributor of the mutual fund products. As I mentioned in my speech also, that we wanted to bring this investment opportunity to a large number of retail customers what we have. So probably the value creation is not only in terms of what SBI FM has been delivering on their schemes, it is also a fact that they have the backing of the largest parent company. And what we would like to assure all the stakeholders is that even before listing, this company was having the best governance practices of both SBI and Amundi. I think that's a value which we have created over a period of time to all the subsidiaries what we have. We almost have 18 subsidiaries, and the value creation, what you mentioned, I take pride in mentioning that our investment in these subsidiaries is about 6,000 crores as we speak today. Hopefully, maybe a month later, the number will change. We are valued at 4 lakh crores. I think that's a value creation for all the stakeholders we have done. And in the process, we also have created institutions of enduring value in the financial services. You would like to take the rest of the question? Or Olivia, you would like to join?
Only part of the question, maybe.
As for Amundi, we try to bring a little bit of our experience. As you know, we are a listed company. We have lived through this process a bit more than 10 years ago, being listed in Paris. So we had this experience and we tried to share it and to advise SBI FM in the process. And I think a second dimension we brought is probably during the roadshows, the contact with international investors. Of course, SBI and SBI FM has a lot of contact with international investors, but we could also help in that regard. And Olivier has been participating in roadshows alongside Chairman Sethi in that regard.
Good morning, sir.
Well, of course, that was the management of SBI funds and our colleague Nimit also asking an important key question on value creation from both those partners as we continue to monitor the price for today as well. But let's continue with your stock-related queries now as well. We, of course, have Astha on the fundamental side of things. Let me welcome in Lakshmikant Shukla, Senior Technical Research Analyst at Yes Securities. Thanks so much for joining in, Lakshmikant. Let me go across and take the next query. And this one comes on Eternal. Asma from Bengaluru is holding 40 shares at 266 odd. Wants to know what she should do with this counter. Lakshmikant, good morning. What would you recommend on Eternal? Is it a good hold?
Yeah, Eternal has seen a decent upside move after crossing above its 200 DMA and is still holding these levels since last few days. I think till it hold above the levels of 265 to a 268 zone, we will remain positive and we will see further upside move. I think fresh buying will occur once it crosses the levels of 295 to 300 zone. Crossing of the same, it could continue this upside move toward the levels of 325 to 330 kind of range. So from my end, I would say to keep hold with this stop loss of 265 on the downside.
Next query is coming in from Sai Karthik from Dallas. He wants to know whether is it a good time to add HDFC Bank. Astha, any view on this?
So talking about HDFC Bank, I think we all know that fundamentals are good because they have got a best-in-class asset quality along with the strong franchisee of deposit the company is having. But the problem is with the kind of fall we are seeing in the prices. And my idea here is that this merger-related synergy, how it will be going to work out, markets are really wanting to see that. So right now, don't enter into this counter. Let it fall more and then make any sort of entry.
Got that view, Astha. But the next question, and this one's coming on MCX. Vedanshi is asking us this question. She's holding shares at 2874. so close to the current market price, asking what she should do with the 400 shares. Would you recommend that Lakshmikant, if she should continue to hold, or is it a good time to exit?
I think she should hold because last few sessions it has seen a pullback move. Even in today's sessions, we have seen some sort of positive momentum in this stock. Till it hold the levels of 2,720, I think we will see further sideways kind of momentum.
Got it. I think Lakshmikant, we'll probably come back to you for that stop because we couldn't get your response, but probably come back to you once your audio is fixed. But Asta, just a quick view if you can on MCX. Would you recommend to continue holding this counter at this point of time?
I think yes, one can hold this counter because first of all, they have got a very strong market position. It's a monopoly kind of a market they are having, along with the asset light model, and we all know the rapid movement or a strong movement in the precious metal prices definitely impact MCX stock prices as well. So just remain invested in this counter.
Next query is on. Okay. Next query is on Patanjali. Hemant Jethwa from Pune is holding around 100 shares, bought at a price of 350. He wants to know whether should he hold or add more shares here. Lakshmika, Asta, any view on this?
So talking about Patanjali, my idea here is that yes, they have got a very strong distribution network, we all know, and they have got a very strong FMCG mix. If we talk about the variety, it is their edible oil or the personal care, etc. And my idea here is that the kind of growth they are showing, it is also good. But the problem is with the margins because margins are showing some sort of a pressure. So that is major problem with the counter along with the valuation which are looking on the higher side. So my idea here is that this counter may fall more on the back of a high valuation. So don't enter into this counter, just remain invested if someone has this counter in the portfolio.
Got it. The next one's on Divi's, and your viewers, you can also call us on the landline number that is flashing on the top of your screen. Speak to our guest for those stock related queries. Ram from Chennai is holding on to Divi's. He's bought it at 4,300 odd. Asking if it's a good time to accumulate more for the long term. Asta is definitely sitting on good gains, but is this a price level to add more, or should he just continue to hold his 40 shares right now?
So I think just remain invested in the counter because right now this counter can see some sort of more price pressure. And hence we'll get the opportunity to buy at a lower level. So idea here is just hold this counter. Now, if I talk about the fundamentals also, balance sheet is in a very good shape. The kind of business model this company is having, it is also very strong. And this company is getting advantage on the back of China plus one strategy. So overall, Divi's Lab is looking strong to us. The only problem is that regulatory risk which these companies are facing. And I believe that some sort of evaluation, correction can also be seen. So don't enter into this counter at this point of time. Maybe at a lower price of around 7,000 also.
Okay, the next query is coming in from Nadilla, and he's holding ICICI Lombard since the time of IPO. He wants to know whether should he book profits and move to any other financial or pharma name, Asta?
ICICI Lombard is looking good to us, so there is no need to shift to any other counter. I think one can remain invested in this. The only problem is that right now what we are seeing is the kind of the result which this company has posted in their Q1 number, because profit after tax has declined around 40%, if I'm not wrong with my figures. So 40 to 45% is what we have seen the decline in the profit. So that is the major reason the counter is not able to show a strong move in the upside move in the stock prices. But long-term story, if anyone believe in the long-term insurance story, then it is a good counter to stay invested in. And the balance sheet is also in a very good shape. So just invested in this for the long term. Maybe in the short term, we can see some sort of pressure in the stock prices due to the decline in the results which they have mentioned in Q1 FY27.
Most certainly. And you rightly mentioned, Asta, the quarter one profitability was down by 46%. Definitely took the sheen out of all the move that we are seeing on ICICI Lombard. But Satyan from Palakkad is holding on to 85 shares of Marico, bought at 564. So very, very attractive levels. Astha, he wants to add more. Valuations definitely are something to watch. The fundamental performance has been good, but would you recommend him to buy more at the current price?
The lower price because I believe they've got a very strong financial profile along with the good balance sheet this company is having, and the premiumization as opportunity which this company is getting is very, very strong. Yes, the valuation is one of the concern for this counter, and hence would like to wait for the numbers to come in. So just hold on any pricing, I mean any purchasing if interest is there till the results arrive.
He is from Sayan from Kolkata. He wants to know whether it's a good idea to invest in BLS International. The stock has corrected from its high point. What would be a recommendation here, Astha?
So here talking about BLS International right now, it is quoting 235. And my idea here is that the company which is into the visa and the consular services, they've got a very strong business model. Along with not only the business model, their performance, financial performance is also very strong. And in this sort of a business, we have seen the margin is also very, very strong. So they earn strong margin, but there are certain risks also. The first risk is that, government contract risk, which this company is having, and in case of like geopolitical tensions which we are seeing right now, so there is a slowdown in the global travel, and that can impact businesses of these companies. So it is I mean there are certain risks also associated with this company, and hence don't enter into this counter at this point of a time at a lower level, and just hold if anyone has this stock in their portfolio, but no fresh entry is recommended at this point of time.
Got that view. But the next question, and this one's on BHEL. Kamlesh, who's from Muzaffarpur, asking about his 500 shares. We can still continue to hold on in the short term. Now, we've seen, if you can pull up the 1 week chart of the counter, 1 month chart as well, because he's bought it at 420 odd, has been in focus. And you saw that big spike, I think, during the results, I think, at that time, which had come through. But Lakshmikant at 420, he's bought shares of BHEL. Should he still continue to hold? What's the short-term view?
The short-term view has tilted on the bearish side since it has made top near the levels of 446, and then it has also formed their dark cloud cover. From there we have seen lower tops and lower bottom. I think next support upcoming, or we can say upcoming support, is seen around the levels of 400. If he can take the risk till these levels, so he can continue to hold. I think 400 is the firm support from where we could see some sort of reversal pattern, and we will see a pullback move. So if he want to hold, then he can keep the stop loss of 400 and wait for this pullback move on the upside.
The next query is from Venu from Hyderabad. He wants to know whether is it a good time to buy Coforge Fresh for short term. Lakshmikant, any view on Coforge?
See, Coforge has played well after surpassing its long-term moving averages on the daily chart, and from last few days, it is also witnessing some sort of consolidation. So I am expecting that till it hold above the levels of 1,460 to 1,470, we will remain positive. Fresh trigger could be seen once it surpasses the levels of 1,560 on the upside. Surpassing of the same, it will continue this upside move and could push it and move higher toward the levels of 1,680 to 1,700 zone.
Got it. Well, it's now time for the rapid fire round in this edition of the show. Astha as well as Lakshmikant, keep your answers as short as possible so that we can take as many queries in the next 4 minutes. The first question, it's coming on, from Gaurav from Delhi on Sterlite Tech. Wants to know if he can still buy it at the current price. Astha, would you recommend that?
Not at the current price, at a lower price of around 480 to 490.
On RVNL, it's for you, Lakshmikant. Arni Agnihotri from Pune wants to buy RVNL at current level for the next 6 months. Should?
I think he should not buy these RVNL because since last few sessions it will be trending lower. So I am expecting bearish kind of move toward the levels of 200. So right. I would say no.
Got it. Kitex Garments is the other one. So Sundaresh has bought these shares at 185 Astha. So currently he's sitting on a loss. Should he continue to hold?
Yes, hold this counter. Maybe he'll able to achieve break even.
The next query is for you, Astha. It's on UTI AMC. Ashish from Delhi wants to know whether should he buy UTI AMC at current levels or not.
No, I think UTI AMC is not looking that strong in this space. Maybe ICICI is a better choice.
The next one's, from Padmanabhan. He wants to enter and if he wants to buy actually Hero MotoCorp, would you recommend that Astha or just probably wait for the first quarter? We are seeing some margin impact on all auto players.
Yes, I would like to wait for the numbers to come in. So just hold. Yeah.
The next query is for you, Lakshmikant. It's on Swiggy. The viewer has bought around 200 shares of Swiggy at a price of 455. Should he buy more, hold or sell?
He can hold this Swiggy with the stop loss of 255 on the downside and can expect the breakout of the levels of 285 and from there it could move higher toward the levels of 300.
Next one's on Hitachi Energy. Vijayan from Chennai wants to know if it's a good time to buy this counter. Lakshmikant, would you recommend that on the charts?
So Hitachi has seen a decent kind of up move. So I think till it hold up the levels of 32,000, we could anticipate upside move in this stock.
The next query is for you, Astha. It's on Sanofi India. Venkatraman is holding 66 shares, bought at a price of 4,081 rupees. Currently sitting on a loss. Should he continue to hold this counter for the next 1 year?
Yes, for 1 year, definitely a hold.
Lavanya from Chennai wants to enter and buy a semicon player between CG Power and Keynes Tech. Astha, do you like either?
Yes, I like CG Power.
The next query is for you, Lakshmikant. It's on MTAR Tech. Uma from Bangalore is holding MTAR Tech. The stock has been hitting lower circuit for the last 3 trading sessions. Should she buy or should she exit?
I think she should exit.
On Synoris as well, Lakshmikant, Vijay has bought shares at 844. He's looking at a target in the near to medium term of almost 1500. Is that a good one? 1800. Should he still wait for that target?
So I think he can wait for the target. Since last few sessions we have seen upside move, so he can continue to hold and wait for this target.
The next query is for you, Astha. It's on HDFC Life. Anuj from Delhi is holding 1000 shares, bought a price of 621. Should he add more at current levels?
No, not more at the current level, maybe at the lower level of 535 to 540.
Venkatramani wants to add an auto ancillary player, Astha, between Uno Minda, Sona BLW, JBM Auto or Motherson. Which is a better pick?
Sona BLW at this point of time.
The next query is for you, Lakshmikant. It's on Paytm. Shrikant from Hyderabad wants to know whether should he hold Paytm. He's holding 100 shares at a price of 1,376. Should he continue to hold or exit from short-term perspective?
I think he can continue to hold with the stop loss of 1,250 on the downside.
Got it. And the last one for today is on Equita Small Finance Bank. Our viewers holding shares at the current market price. Astha, should he continue to hold? I think we seem to have lost Astha, but a view, Lakshmikant, if we can, on Equita Small Finance Bank. It's seen a good run-up going into earnings. What's your view?
I think he can continue to hold with this stop loss of 77 on the downside and can expect upside move toward the levels of 90.
Got it. Well, that was the last question. Astha as well as Lakshmikant, thanks so much for helping us solve all those stock-related queries. But viewers, before we wrap, after a pause of almost 13 years, one of the most prestigious honors in Indian business is back on July 26th. NDTV Profit brings back the Business Leadership Awards, celebrating the leaders, companies and entrepreneurs who have helped shape India's economic journey. Now, and the nominees for the Financial Powerhouse of the Year in the non-PSU categories are Shriram Finance, built on a deep customer understanding and an unmatched presence beyond India's metros. The second one is BSC, the institution that helped create India's equity culture. ICICI Bank, a big pioneer in the modern banking, combining innovation, digital leadership and financial performance to stay ahead of the curve. Fourth one's Axis Bank strengthens its position as one of India's most dynamic and customer-focused financial institutions. Cholamandalam Investment and Finance is the other company built on India's most respected NBFC franchises. Bajaj Finance, redefining consumer finance through innovation, execution and scale. HDFC Bank, a benchmark for excellence in Indian banking, is the last nominee in the Financial Powerhouse of the Year on the non-PSU category. But stay with us. Only 5 days to go for the Business Leadership Awards on NDTV Profit. We'll see you on July 26th. But right now, it's a good time to wrap this show. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you at 2 p.m. for Ask Profit, the afternoon edition.
Superstar Stocks of the Day, presented by Tata Azura. हर रास्ते का सुपरस्टार.
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो पतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार. विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी.
We are over, Jimmy.
हे, लाइफ में स्क्रैचेस तो आएंगे. गाड़ी के स्क्रैचेस को तो कॉस्मो पीपीएफ संभाल लेगा. आप अपना देख लो.
अंबा शक्ति प्लांट की वर्ल्ड रेनाउंड टेक्नोलॉजी देती है स्टील को ज्यादा ताकत हर बार. अंबा शक्ति SDTMT.
That are propelling India to what we call the Viksit Bharat stage. Those are demographics, democracy and digitization. These three things are instrumental in creating what we hope is a new India, a more bold India, a more braver India in the next few years.
India's unshakable news habit. NDTV.com is India's #1 English news website. India Inc.'s most respected names chose India Inc.'s best and brightest.
I'm delighted to be chairing the committee of such distinguished fellow businessmen, bankers. It's lovely to be back on this NDTV jury. I have been a fan of NDTV for a long time. Many of the nominees.
Hello and welcome to KYC. You are watching NDTV Profit with me, Sharad Dubey. This is a show where I get you the hottest companies, interesting stories, and yes, will there be any alpha made to your portfolio or not? Let's start with the company today, but try to guess it first. And I'm sure with the names which I'll start taking on their acquisitions, you will be guessing it by the end. Surat-based specialty chemical player, right? A lot of them are there. Let's go to another hint to make it more easier for you. The stock has doubled from 2025 lows as well, giving good returns to the investors. Which stock is it? Another hint I would like to give you is this company will be acquiring Bliss GVS Pharma. Now I'm sure you must be guessing it by now. And one more hint I'll give you. The company is the promoter of Tanfac Industries. Lot of integrations are happening, right? And I'm sure by now you must have understood the company which I'm talking about, and the company which will be featured in KYC today is Anupam Rasayan. This is the company which we'll talk about. But why are we calling this company? Any announcements are coming in? If yes, what's the big story about it? The first key question we'll try to understand from the management is this important tie-up. This is a European Union tie-up. How big is this? How long this contract will go? Also, a very new entry the company has made in this segment. We'll try to understand how important this is and what will be the suggestive timelines or the capex amounts. We'll understand the integration and timelines, especially for Bliss GVS Pharma. Of course, the management has spoken about it, but we'll get into more details, if anything incremental, and the capex plans ahead and the capacity utilization. What does the overall plant numbers stand?
Apart from this, if you look at it, the promoter pledge, is that coming down or is it over? That's a key question. A lot of investors have been talking about it. The raw material pricing trends in Q1, is there any inventory adjustment at play? We'll get that information for you. And also looking at the expansion in the new product category, in the niche segment, that is where the focus is happening. These are high margin products and Street is quite bullish on this. And to decode that, we'll have Vishal Thakkar, the Deputy CFO at Anupam Rasayan, giving all the queries, coming in. But let's try to understand, what does the company actually do? I know the company is having almost 4 decades of exposure. This was incorporated in the year 1984. Also, interestingly, there is an important detail about it, and that is the specialty chemical is having 2 verticals. I'm going to give you those 2 verticals, which are those. The first vertical, let's get in that to show you what's there. If you could just show this first vertical, this is the life science related specialty chemicals. This includes agrochem and of course the personal care products. So personal care is definitely on the higher margin. The pharma performance materials, that's comprising electronic, EV, chemicals and polymers. So this is a little bit of futuristic. They have manufacturing products for over 75 domestic and international customers, and a good MNC exposure also is there in terms of clients. I'll get you those names also, but you have to hang out with us. They operate via 8 manufacturing facilities. Of course, they have major of them in Gujarat, there is Tamil Nadu, and from the acquisition, they have a plant in Kansas, which is in US as well. Already, this is the total capacity, and almost 25 plus complex products are there, and 90 of them are in pipeline or giving that R&D. So that definitely shows a good momentum. But they will be acquiring Bliss GVS Pharma. That's a recent announcement which we have all discussed, and the company is also promoter of Tanfac Industry. So there are listed companies, a lot of them are there. So there is a little bit of value at play as well. Almost 14,646 crore worth of order book, and that is where the strength lies, especially on the medium term visibility for revenues. Also, they deal with in recent news is the Basketball deal, long-term supply contract. It's a specialty chemical product. This is a $300 million. So that's a very important news coming in. Second important news is, of course, this company is a European technology company. So there is important, momentum here. But let's look at the second important news as well. They're focused on the next gen solid state lithium metal batteries. And that is the entire story coming in for Basketball. Also, they have introduced something very important, the first in the world to commercialize ETFA using fluorochemistry. That is something pretty big. We'll try to understand these 2 major announcements, of course, after the acquisitions and the integrations at play. What are the benefits? First is Jayhawk. They have strengthened their presence in the specialty polymers. So this is one of the recent acquisitions and why it is important for the company. Now, this gives you access to semiconductor, aerospace and defense. These are the segments where the growth is happening. Remember, this is a US company, and that's why the plant which I discussed earlier was from Kansas. Tanfac, which supports the backward integration. Earlier was the forward integration, and this especially in the fluorination segment. So overall, we are seeing a proper integration is at play coming in for Anupam Rasayan, and also the entry into the multiple high growth therapy segments. This is where the momentum comes in for Bliss GVS. So a lot of mergers, acquisition activities are happening, and that's why we'll understand much more rationale from the management. But how does the revenue breakup look like? It's still heavily skewed towards that 82% mark in the life science segment. If you understand it, only just 18% comes from the performance material segment. So this is the total revenue breakup coming in for Anupam Rasayan. But also, let's move on and see the other important data. What is important is the global clients. They have a bigger name. They are properly getting integrated. So when you have an MNC clientele and integration, you get in large institutional global orders. Also, what may work for the company? Strong MNC collaborations and an order book. That is what the street is liking it. Second important reason is the focusing in the niche segment. They're pushing for pharma, polymer and also electronic chemicals. So this is something to watch out for. Thirdly, the expansion which is happening, the revenue potential just for the company can range between $220 to $260 million. So you can see a good runway is there. Also, this acquisition is a strategic move from a CRAMS player to the formulations player. So of course, this becomes quite value accretive going ahead. Apart from this, improvement in the working capital ratios, they were stretched from FY25 to 26. I've seen there's a good momentum happening, and this might augur well for the company. And company is doing a lot of expansion, so a little bit of return ratios pressure could be there, and this is the first reason what may not work for the company. Second reason, let's pull out what can happen. There's the execution, the delay risk in the integration. There's so many things happening. and by nature, by default, at times, 1 or 2 quarters plus minus, or even 2-3 quarters, it can happen. Mixed views coming in from analysts. 3 out of 6 analysts still have a sell rating in the stock, while the other 3 have a buy rating. So there is a conflict. Promoter pledge, the March shareholding, that's a little bit of concern in this counter as well. So I've given you both sides picture of how things are going, and of course a little bit of sell-off happening, but not so much. So this is the entire picture for Anupam Rasayan from both the sides, what is good, what's not, and what's lying ahead. But our KYC ratings is very much important, where you judge the company, income statement, balance sheet, cash flow, everything we get in for you, and return ratio, I'll get you both ROC and ROE analysis. Apart from this, the shareholding street kid, whether the money has been made or not, especially in the long-term investors, or is it testing the patience, and of course the valuations and the outlook as well. But without further ado, let's start the income statement. That's the first rating criteria. The top line numbers have been good, but kind of a dismal performance in the operational profit and the PAT segment. So that's quite normal in a chemical setup, because there are a lot of business cycles when you judge a company, and slight dip coming in the margins as well. Top line was a good growth, so that is why I'm trying to balance it out in my analysis, and I'm going to give this a neutral rating as of now. Remember, Q1 numbers are not out. Most of the managements are in the silent period for their outlook. Let's talk about balance sheet and see what's happening here. Balance sheet also, it looks decently spaced out the way they're managing the ratios. The working capital ratios have improved, so that's little stress comes down. But nevertheless, the borrowings have gone up a bit. But on the other hand, the cash number has also gone up. Why this is important is because the company is doing major acquisitions. So you will have a little bit of strain in the balance sheet. And this is looking at the business model of how the company is functioning right now. So it's a neutral rating here as well. Cash flow, let's see what's happening here. Is there any lumpiness? Remember, the MNC parentage is there, so they might not have a lot of cash flows issues. But yes, investing and financing activities is where the action might change around. But look at the cash flow from operations. This has been really good. So for a moment, let's remove the investing and the financing, because it's of course a business and seasonal. The cash flow for operations has done well. FY24 was just 59 crore. There was a dip coming in, but look at this amount here. That is where it's showing that an improvement in capital ratios is there. So I'm going to give this a thumbs up when it comes to my cash flow analysis. The next parameter, of course, are the ROCs and the ROE numbers. So of course, this is the ROE number first, just to get it. And if you could just show the ROE number also, we'll understand, this is a little bit of pressure coming in. What we saw in FY25, now that is of course coming down, and it's coming at around this 5.5% mark. So yes, there are some changes, but net there is a pressure. और जब धंधा बढ़ता है, acquisition होता है, तो return ratios में pressure आता है. Just to put it in a simplified manner, but it might increase also. A little bit of increase is expected on the expectation. So I've made it a neutral rating. Also, let's move apart from the return ratios to the shareholding, how things have moved, and largely little bit of sell-off is there, not so much also from FIs, from 8% to 7%, and DI is a little bit to 1%. But now, of course, channel checks are suggesting some accumulation is at play, but the June numbers are not out yet, so we cannot get that picture. So as of now, it's a neutral rating. But let's talk about shareholding. Has the stock actually made money? Of course, for a medium-term, short-term investor or even a trader, yes, the stock has made money. Of course, from 2025 lows, the stock is up 2 times. So that is something showing a good momentum. Minor correction coming in the recent times in the consolidation zone for the technicals. But last 5 years, just 62%. So of course, investors, the long-term investors definitely wanted more returns in this. And if they are holding the stock, definitely there will be a bit impatience. And that is the human sentiment which we have in the stock markets. Overall, let's keep it neutral right now, because it has given a sizable returns from 2025 lows. The stock is up 2 times when it comes to street cred. But valuations, is it the cheapness here? And I feel yes, valuations are quite cheap. Why? The current 12-month forward P ratio is 35 times. The 5-year peak almost hitting the 80 mark. And even just to balance things out, the 5-year average is also 43 times. So technically, 20 to 25% discount पे तो चल रहा है 5-year average P पे. So that's why the valuations look decent, and that's why I've given this a strong thumbs up. But apart from the valuations, let's talk about the outlook. What is the numbers? What's the future? This is very much important. the strong capex plans to expand capacity into newer molecules or chemistries. That is where the niche segment is coming in. The integration of TANFAC, which is the backward, and Jayhawk, which is the forward integration, is something which the street is quite bullish on. But let's wait for the timelines. That's something to look at for expansion in the US market. That is where important acquisitions are playing out, and new regulated market is something which they are targeting. LOI based revenue that's expected to reach 1,000 crore by FY28. LOI is nothing but your order base which is there, which I had explained to you. Also, the ample land availability at Jhagadia for future expansion. This is in Gujarat. So in case of new capacities come in, so they can add in very fast. The turnaround will be faster, and that's why I really like about the outlook. So I've given this a thumbs up. Let's give you the entire picture for Anupam Rasayan. What are the KYC ratings looking like? And largely, the income statement balance sheet has been neutral, but cash flows, the operating ones, has improved significantly for the company. Return ratios, they are mixed. Shareholding street cred, neutral rating I've given in, but valuations are quite cheap, and so is the outlook, which is good. So overall, we could say an average number which we give slightly on the positive side. Higher positive is 5.5 out of 8 for Anupam Rasayan. But what else is the story? Everybody wants to know about it, and for that we'll be joined by Vishal Thakkar, the Deputy CFO of Anupam Rasayan, and interesting tidbits about him I would like to share. He has more than 2 decades of experience, and look at that, merger and acquisition. This is where the speciality comes, and we have seen so much of that happening for this company. Of course, business development as well, and work experience includes Hazira LNG Port, SR Investments, G Capital, and CRISIL as well. So, very interesting conversation we'll have with Vishal Thakkar, but shortly after a break.
Superstar Stocks of the Day, presented by Tata Azura. हर रास्ते का सुपरस्टार.
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो पतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार. विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी.
We are over, Jimmy.
हे, लाइफ में स्क्रैचेस तो आएंगे. गाड़ी के स्क्रैचेस को तो कॉस्मो पीपीएफ संभाल लेगा. आप अपना देख लो.
अंबा शक्ति प्लांट की वर्ल्ड रेनाउंड टेक्नोलॉजी देती है स्टील को ज्यादा ताकत हर बार. अंबा शक्ति SDTMT.
India Inc.'s most respected names chose India Inc.'s best and brightest.
These kind of awards and jury lineup, you are truly giving it the right weightage. The eminent juries who are here, and that itself speaks for the commitment towards highlighting the advantage which India is having. What I am looking for in this is that we should be awarding companies and individuals who have focused not only on growth but also on bringing good governance.
Be part of jury and vote on the people, the men, the women, the companies in India who have the right stuff is a great opportunity for us.
Who will earn India's top business honors? Find out at the NDTV Profit Business Leadership Awards. India's unshakable news habit. NDTV.com is India's #1 English news website.
I got blooded in the stock market in the early 90s when Narayan Murthy and Infosys went public, and forever after that we've been spoiled. We look for businesses run by entrepreneurs like Narayan Murthy who have boldness, who have vision, and who
Welcome back to Know Your Company, and we are joined in by Vishal Thakkar, the Deputy CFO of Anupam Rasayan. Vishalji, good afternoon. It's always a pleasure to have you with us at NDTV Profit. And so many announcements are coming in from your company. But before those merger acquisition question, I want to start with the recent flow of news, especially with the Basque Volt $300 million deal coming in, especially for the European Union segment. I want to understand what are the key benefits for the company and by when can that start coming in?
Hi, good afternoon, and thank you for taking us on your channel. See, this is very interesting one for us because this is one where we are focusing on new age technology, which is basically in the solid state side, solid state battery. So we are making electrolytes. We'll be making electrolytes for them, and it's to our Spanish client. And to that extent, we believe that this is very, very landmark because this is where the new technology innovation is happening. New products are coming into picture compared to the older technology, which is there, which is more on the liquid electrolyte side. So this is more on the solid electrolyte side, which will improve the safety of the batteries, which will improve the longevity of the charged cycle charge time, and also the energy density. So to that extent, it is going to be very interesting for us.
It's a pretty interesting take coming in. But Vishalji, ETFA, correct me if I'm wrong because I'm not very good at chemistry. Ethyl trifluoroacetate. This is the commercialization announcement which has come in, and apparently this is the world's first plant which is being done. How is it different, first of all, and what kind of capex is earmarked for this and the incremental benefits when it can start coming in? Just could explain us where this product is also used.
So this was a product that we had commercialized in the earlier announcement that we had made. And this is basically where we had said that this product is made by us first time in the flow chemistry is what we had said. So we are the first one to commercialize this product in flow chemistry, which is an application across pharma, across polymer and other end markets as well, including other businesses. And this is one of the very strong, starting chemical for a lot of other applications that it can be eventually used for over and above in its state as well. So we believe there is a very large market that we can see from here, and we are very, very proud that we could do it in flow, because when you do it in flow, you are improving the safety standards, you are improving the efficiency of the production, you are reducing the environmental footprints because there is lesser solvents used, lesser other energy and other aspects used, and hence that's where you do a good job with manufacturing in a greener way.
That's of course one of the futuristic views coming in. But Vishalji, I want to understand this process, this integration which is happening of Bliss GVS Pharma. How is it happening? And there, of course, there is a forward integration announcements backward also coming in. So 3 names, and you're a man of mergers and acquisitions with that experience which you have, and you have been able to do that. Wanted to understand by when these timelines can go, and is there any timeline risk to it, because so many things are happening and things take time, right? So wanted to understand for the viewers any suggestive timelines for all this.
So Tanfac, I think, is fairly integrated. It has been 4 years that we have been now in the control of this company, and we have a management control of this company, and I think that's well integrated to my mind. Jayhawk, we concluded the transaction in the end of February. And that integration is right now underway, and initial level of the integrations have been achieved in terms of HR, in terms of financial reportings, and others are fairly in place now. And even from a go-to-market point of view, both the teams of marketing teams from both the organizations are working together and going to the customers together to offer a broader portfolio of solutions, and that's continuing to happen, and we will start seeing a lot of benefits out of it coming in from the end market side, also from a process integration side in terms of sharing of knowledge and technologies and manufacturing capabilities. So that will continue to happen at Jayhawk. And on a Bliss side, the question is we should be able to conclude this transaction, as we can see today, should be anything between end of August to first half of September is what we are targeting. SEBI approvals have come in, and we've started doing the process of open offer, and let's see, that's where it is, and then we can talk about the integration here. But if you look at it, the whole idea and the method, the madness of these 3 acquisitions was If you look at the ECM portfolio, we had clearly built it on our organic basis, and we created a whole value chain. See, today the world is not looking for a product or a chemistry. The product is looking for a full supply chain or a value chain solutions that we are.
Next question comes, Vishalji, is on that integration play. You already are having important global clients. So it becomes a no-brainer that you start getting larger orders from large institutions across the segment which you are playing in. So I wanted to just understand that if you're doing so much, isn't it the balance sheet hurting a little bit? Do you think there's a fundraise at play happening or expected to happen? Just wanted to get a flavor of that.
So see, I'll tell you, I don't see. I'm in a silent period, so I would be refrain to make too many statements. But if you look at it, the way we have funded this balance sheet, also, if you look at it, we've kept it fairly respectful in terms of debt to EBITDA levels. If you were to look at it, and also my FY26 numbers are not reflective of the EBITDA, because I have got only 1 month of Jayhawk's performance in terms of P&L, but in terms of balance sheet, I have integrated the full balance sheet. And to that extent, my numbers will look very different. If I look at pro forma only on Jayhawk added to this, I think I should be doing a 3,000 crore of revenue with around about 640 odd crores of 625 odd crores of EBITDA. And when you look at that number, which is pure pro forma, I'm not even talking about any growth or otherwise, but just pro forma, then the numbers will look far more meaningful and comfortable. And my sense is that we are looking in a comfortable positions. If I look at debt to EBITDA, if I look at my leverage ratios, we should be very comfortable.
The working capital ratio is also improving in my analysis, and that was there in your FY26 cash flows also. But I want to understand a little bit, since you are a chemical company, raw material pricing, short-term trends are also there. And this is the quarter where there will be some impact, at least on the rising crude price. Somewhere or the other, ancillary impact is also there. So we do not want any numbers from you, but we want to understand, how overall sentiment is looking on the raw material pricing side. Will it be elevated in the first quarter? Just like that much we want to know.
So I would tell you that, see, the point is that the way we build our business model is that we would pass on all the costs that we have of manufacturing to our customers, and to that extent it will be there. Also, there is a bit of a as you know that we hold a reasonable level of working capital and inventory, and to that extent this is the specific reason why we hold this kind of inventory, that the supply shocks to our customers are not there. For us, anyways, it is passed through, but even for my customer, there is no supply shock really coming in of month to month or quarter to quarter, and that's where this working capital acts as an absorbent to that movements and levelizes the cost structure for them.
That's pretty interesting. I also want to understand a little bit about the capex plans and the capacity utilization. What we had shared earlier. Just a ballpark, a number or a range.
Yeah. So see, today I think we've fairly done our capex program, especially in Anupam. Tenfac will do its own plans, but at Anupam we have fairly done our capex, and we believe that current capacity should support a revenue of anything between 3,500 to 4,000 crores of revenue. Broadly, that's where, depending upon the product mix, but at the current product mix plan, I think we should be doing that kind of thing.
Right. I was just checking the March shareholding. There is a little bit of promoter pledge also. Is this over, or will this be getting over? If you could give us a little bit of light on that.
So if I were to say March the pledge that Anupam's shareholder promoters have is largely to support the company's performance, and that was basically largely it was for the reason of their preference participation that was there largely. But yeah, nothing really otherwise should you see that.
All right. So, of course, this is business as usual. That's a clarity which we all wanted at KYC. But we are actually out of time. And so it was always a pleasure to have you with us. You gave the entire picture of Anupam Rasayan, where they stand. And of course, talking in a silent period is something which is very difficult for management. But you have actually carried it off nicely. Thank you very much, sir, for the business outlook going ahead. And best of luck for the Q1 numbers.
Thank you. Thank you, and have a good day.
Thank you. So that's the management of Anupam Rasayan, and of course they are talking about the integrations which is happening, and the MNC clientele which they have, that's where the interest is rising. And the R1 numbers, especially the Q1 RM numbers, there might be an impact, but there is a pass-through also. So we'll try to understand how the numbers come, and for interesting stories like this, stay tuned to NDTV Profit and keep watching KYC.
Superstar Stocks of the Day, presented by Tata Azura, हर रास्ते का सुपरस्टार।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
We are over, Jimmy.
हे, लाइफ में स्क्रैचेस तो आएंगे। गाड़ी के स्क्रैचेस को तो कॉस्मो पीपीएफ संभाल लेगा। आप अपना देख लो।
अंबा शक्ति प्लांट की वर्ल्ड रेनाउंड टेक्नोलॉजी देती है स्टील को ज्यादा ताकत हर बार। अंबा शक्ति SDTMT।
This is India Inc.'s Roll of Honor, recognizing the leaders shaping India's growth story, where ambition, enterprise and excellence meet. In the presence of the Finance Minister, Nirmala Sitharaman. NDTV Profit Business Leadership Awards, 26 July on the NDTV network. India's unshakable news habit. NDTV.com is India's #1 English news website.
Access to capital, faster regulatory pathways, and market acceptance to create value. And if we get the pieces right, I think we can move from being the pharmacy of the world to being the most innovative lab of the world.
Hi, I'm Tamanna Inamdar. Watch me on NDTV Profit, where I break down the day's biggest business stories. What happened, why it matters, and what it means for your money.
Hi, I'm Neeraj Shah. Watch me on NDTV Profit for the most incisive market intelligence and meaningful corporate conversations.
And I'm Alex Matthew. Markets, mutual funds, insurance, personal finance. I help you cut through the noise and make smarter financial choices. And here's where you can watch us.
Benchmark slipped to the day's lows. Nifty 50 hovers near 24,100 level. Sensex sheds more than 200 points. PSU banks, FMCG top the sectoral laggards, while real estate and metals are resilient. Slew of companies buzzing after reporting the earnings, while Canara HSBC Life delivered healthy numbers. Weak quarter weighs on transformers and rectifiers, and Bajaj Health. Paytm edges lower despite the earnings beat. Karur Vysya Bank shares jump after the lender posted a robust June quarter performance. Net profit surged 45% year-on-year. Robust earnings growth supported by strong interest income and sharply lower provisions. SBI Funds Management extends gains after strong stock market debut, listing nearly 7% above its IPO price. With the listing, the company has become India's second largest asset manager by market capitalization. Hello and welcome. You tuned into Markets at 12. I'm Nisha Poddar, and yes, the color is red today as Nifty 50 at the low point of the trading session when we talk about the midday market. So there you go, a huge amount of pressure really building on Nifty 50 at 0.3 odd % down in trade at the current moment. And a large part of that is being shaved off by HDFC Bank. Remember, it has been a dragger on 2 days straight after the results came out, but also remember that the banking pack, the large cap banks are also a quasi investment into the economy. So therefore, HDFC Bank shaving off a large part, but ICICI Bank on the flip side is also the gainer. Let's also take a look at some of the other internals from the IT pack. Again, it's a mixed bag today with HCL Tech really gaining in trade and Infosys as well as TCS on the downward side. Reliance Industries also after its results on Friday, where it showed a huge amount of momentum, also with promoter buying more stake into the company in the quarter gone by. After that, this particular heavyweight is really causing erosion on the benchmark indices. So that's about the benchmark index, but in the overall market setup also that we see in terms of the pockets which are doing well and the ones which are on the downward trajectory, it's a larger number of sectors on the downward side feeling the heat and the pressure, especially of the global cues also coming in. So only real estate as well as high beta metal, these are the sectors which are doing well, auto also to some extent. But apart from that, banks are really taking a drubbing today and also down, but still better than the key index Nifty 50. So outperformance by banking index, but HDFC Bank a key dragger. Let's take it straight across to Vikas Gupta, who's the CEO of Omniscience Capital, joining in now. Vikas, pleasure speaking to you on NDTV Profit. What do you make of the current volatility that we have been seeing and also pressure building as crude oil prices really mount?
Pleasure here to be here. See, mostly I would attribute all this majority to the global, the war situation. So the near term, everyone is reacting to that. And that's why we are seeing a little bit of negativity. Otherwise, to us, banks look one of the best placed from a midterm perspective. But near term, yes, there is a impact of the largest bank here. But otherwise, from a longer term perspective, we are quite optimistic about this.
Right. When we look at the mid-cap universe, and let's train our focus on that as well, that is showing quite a bit of outperformance compared to the key indices, Vikas, today. And there is still momentum and some gains seen in the mid-cap universe as well as the small-cap universe. Looking at this particular picture, there is definitely value buying despite the macro picture and the overall economic concerns coming in because of the global scenario. How do you pick in an environment like this the pockets which are going to create value? What is on your radar?
Yeah, so first of all, we have to list down the factors, the global macro geopolitical factors, which could impact earnings or revenues. So on the specific fundamentals. And those specific sectors you have to weed out because you can't predict what's going to happen with them in the near term. So just keep away from those. Focus on the ones which do not have a macroeconomic impact as much. So more domestically focused, less oil dependent kind of sectors. And there, of course, you go back to the scientific investing process. I mean, look at bottom up, fundamental, strong balance sheets, strong competitive advantages, and available at significant discount to intrinsic value. That's the most important part. I mean, most of the time we are focused on growth and strong balance sheets, but people forget to take account of the valuations. So there are enough pockets, I think, still.
When we talk about pockets, any critical themes on your radar, Vikas, and also putting into perspective the margin play because of the crude prices being still at elevated levels now, and also the monsoon impact. The delayed monsoon has had its lasting impact on this particular season of also could be showing in the rural economic consumption and on the other hand on the agri sector. Looking at all these developments in the recent past, do you think that the market has really baked in the concerns coming in on that one, on the margins as well as the monsoon concern? Or do you think that from here on it could really lift up if things get better on West Asia?
Yeah, so West Asia and monsoon, if monsoon also turns out to be better, then some things, but West Asia is like a pendulum. It will keep doing this as we have seen for last 2-3 months. It's highly unlikely that you have a clear answer, right? They will keep talking, doing ceasefire, then starting the attacks again. And so it's very difficult to say when this is going to end. The only point is the amount of impact, except for the directly impacted sectors, people have started not looking at or reacting to the war rhetoric or actual actions as well. So, of course, the sectors which get impacted, you have to be very careful. But other than that, I mean, for example, housing finance. Okay, so today real estate is going up. But a proxy for that would be housing finance, and that would be very little impacted by this directly. So that's an example, or the a power situation could in fact benefit every time this happens, right?
Right. And in terms of which sectors would be on your radar for new investments at these current levels, Vikas?
Yeah, so domestic infrastructure companies, power, railways, housing finance, and banks. I mean, banks are one of our favorites for quite some time and likely to remain favorites given the balance sheet strength and that they are a proxy for the economy.
Vikas Gupta, thank you so much for joining in with your expert take on the markets and also catching the momentum for making the returns. Now, Dr. Bondada Raghavendra Rao, the chairman and managing director of Bondada Engineering, now joins in. Actually, there's a news development for the company and there could be a stock impact. There is an order win of first grid scale VRFB BESS project. VRFB is the vanadium redox flow battery. BESS is something of interest. Now, talking about the company and what it brings, Dr. Bondada Raghavendra Rao, how does this really benefit the company? Give us a sense on what this particular order win really means and the financial impact.
Yeah, good afternoon, Nisha. This is vanadium redox flow battery order from NTPC Renewable Energy. We have to set up this plant, this storage facility at Kavada Solar Park in NTPC's solar park. And this is the first of its kind in India and one of the largest capacity. So far, all our battery energy storage systems are with LFP technology, that is lithium phosphate iron phosphate technology. But this is lithium ion cells, and then these container solutions are mostly 100%, almost 100% dependency on China. So because of this land border issues, geopolitical issues, we are this market, this battery energy storage market is badly impacting on prices and then supply chain issues. Hence, actually, we thought that actually there's an alternative solution is required. Then we discussed among ourselves and then made this vanadium redox flow batteries a very new technology, first of its kind in India. And NTPC has seen one POC, small POC project. Our technical partner is Electric Systems from Delhi. And Electric Systems and Bondada partnered together and participated in this tender with NTPC. And this is one of the highest capacity, largest capacity of 100 megawatt hour to be set up in NTPC's solar park.
Dr. Rao, I want to understand the timeline for this particular order and also some financial impact. Of course, it's a prestigious order with NDPC, and it makes a big deal for this particular space where many companies are really vying for such large tenders and important work to be done in this battery storage space. But when we talk about your company's timeline as well as the financial impact coming in, and also how does it open the pathway for new capabilities in future?
Yeah, absolutely, Nisha. This is new technology.
Yes.
As I rightly said, that actually it is alternative to the lithium-ion technology. So we can be independent of China if this is proves, and actually this is coming in big way. Vanadium redox flow battery technology is entirely new technology as of now. And we have to complete this project as a sample basis. We have to complete this project is in 16 months time. NTPC has given us in 16 months time. Thereafter, we have to maintain this plant, this storage facility for next 10 years time. And with this order, our total BESS order book has rose to 1.2 gigawatt, that is 1200 megawatt hour. This is 100 megawatt hour VRFB, but 1100 megawatt is LFP, that is lithium ion technology. That is also which we are working with TNGCL, Tamil Nadu, and AP Transco in Andhra Pradesh, and another project of NTPC in Sitapur, UP. All put together is 1200 megawatt hour that we have to install, which is timelines are ranging from anything between 15 months to 18 months time. With this, actually, our battery energy storage systems order book is, as of now, it is reached to the around 1900 crore. Out of 1900 crore, around 500 crore is EPC, and around 1400 crore is build, operate, and own and operate systems.
Dr. Rao, many of those takeaways from the answer that you gave, my first and most important thing is that your entire portfolio is now in two segments, in the LFP as well as VRFB also is now inching up. You also said that our lithium dependence on China will reduce if the VRFB technology really works out well. Can you give us a comparison when we talk about also the price dynamics and the margins that are the differentiating factor between these two? And when we talk about VRFB, how self-sustaining is India in that? Can we do away with lithium is my question.
Yeah, this vanadium is actually the long life battery storage capacity. For example, if lithium ion comes with cells, anything between 12 to 15 years life of the project is there. But this vanadium is one of the longest long life storage plant, which goes up to the 25 to 30 years. Normally, if you see that actually our solar plants are life cycle is around 25 to 30 years, but whereas your lithium-ion storage facility lasts up to only 12 years. Okay, if at all you want to have this 25 years of the storage facility, one time you have to upgrade that lithium-ion. So with that upgradation and one time installation of this vanadium redox flow battery, costing at this point of time is coming out to the almost almost same or little cheaper by VRFB. But once this is come into the big scale and big quantities are coming, definitely VRFB is going to be the much cheaper than lithium ion technology. Not only that, actually cost point of view, there are so many other advantages are there with VRFB, because so thermal management is very easy. Safety point of view, it is a very safe. Once you are installed as a plant VRFB, it's a very safe plant. Other than that, actually LFP as a thermal management is a critical issue, and there is a hardly any degradation there. You can see degradation in VRFP, but where there in LFP, there's a lot of degradation from 7th year onwards, 8th year onwards, up to 12 years, it will almost go dead. So many other advantages are there. Hence, this is the most important for India to actually encourage this vanadium redox flow battery, because actually we have plenty vanadium raw materials available along with our iron mines and even manganese mines. Going forward, if this technology been acceptable, I think India is going to be self-sustained as a Atmanirbhar Bharat, and we are independent of any other Chinese technologies.
So, Dr. Rao, the electrification of India and the path towards that has only one big challenge, which is the lithium and the dependence overseas on the imports and not having the full capability in that. And we have to see if our VRFB can be that right answer and if its usage can be widespread. But my final question to you, you said that in about 18 months, this particular, timeline for this particular order will be commissioned. In terms of which particular quarter and the next financial year will you see benefit of this really coming in, and how much could be the financial impact because of this order? That is my specific question as the last question.
Yeah, Anisha, this, as you know, that actually our India needs a lot of storage capacity, battery energy storage capacity. I think we have to install almost 236 gigawatt hour by 2030. Hardly anything installed as of now. Hence, that actually we need to we should not be depending on other Chinese technologies. We have to depend on our own technology. And if this comes into the picture, if this comes into the proven track record, I think anything second quarter of next financial year onwards, we will see the advantage of this VRFP. And I'm sure that actually I'm very much pretty sure that actually this technology is going to prove and it is going to give very good results in energy storage sector.
Right. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Rao, for joining in with all the details. And of course, it's a big one in a new technology when we talk about battery storage. All the best to you on this particular order. Thank you so much for joining in. All right, moving on, there is a new listing on the horizon today, and it was a good listing also coming in from a strong parentage of SBI. Now let's listen in to what SBI Chairman C.S. Shetty said after the listing ceremony of SBI Funds Management as the company makes its debut on the bourses with good returns.
Shetty, of course, SBI's parentage was very important to the listing here and pushing this forward. How strong, how did SBI approach this listing? In that sense, how did that brand name sort of build out the reputation and the premium that this listing has brought through? If you could take us through that a little bit. Similar question to you, Mr. Calgon, with Amundi's role here, what sort of role did you play in getting this IPO forward and building this out in the way it did?
So coming to SBI, I think it's not only the largest distributor of the mutual fund products, as I mentioned in my speech also, that we wanted to bring this investment opportunity to a large number of retail customers what we have. So probably the value creation is not only in terms of what SBI FM has been delivering on their schemes, it is also a fact that they have the backing of the largest parent company. And what we would like to assure all the stakeholders is that even before listing, this company was having the best governance practices of both SBI and Amundi. I think that's a value which we have created over a period of time to all the subsidiaries what we have. We almost have 18 subsidiaries, and the value creation what you mentioned, I take pride in mentioning that our investment in these subsidiaries is about 6,000 crores as we speak today. Hopefully maybe a month later the number will change. We are valued at 4 lakh crores. I think that's a value creation for all the stakeholders we have done. And in the process we also have created institutions of enduring value in the financial services. you would like to take the rest of the question? Or Olivier, you would like to join?
As for Amundi, we try to bring a little bit of our experience. As you know, we are a listed company. We have lived through this process a bit more than 10 years ago, being listed in Paris. So we had the experience and we tried to share it and to advise SBIFM in the process. And I think a second dimension we brought is probably during the roadshow, the contact with international investors. Of course, SBA and SBIFM has a lot of contact with international investors, but we could also help in that regard. And Olivier has been participating in roadshows alongside Chairman Sethi in that regard.
All right, over 1.2 lakh crore rupees of market cap of SBI Funds Management, largest by assets under management when we talk about the AMCs in the country coming from the parentage of SBI. So that's a great listing with 8% uptake really maintained even in the middle of the trading session. All right, keep an eye on that. A bunch of other counters are also in focus today. On the back of their earnings, there are losers and there are buzzers. And both my colleagues, Parth as well as Jasmeet, are right here to take us through both of them. So thank you so much, Parth as well as Jasmeet. First, let's take it to Parth. What's on your list of buzzers today? Which ones are really getting a much better treatment by the market?
Yeah, there were a lot of earnings, but these three are standing out in particular in today's trade. The first one is Karur Vyasa Bank. The stock has, on the back of earnings, touched the highest level in the last 5 months, and also today saw its biggest intraday gain since January 2026. If you look at the Q1 numbers, then the company crossed the advances level of 1 lakh crore for the first time. Advances saw a growth of 6% quarter on quarter. The bank also recorded the highest ever profit of 756 crores. Net interest income saw a growth of 32%, while NIM also grew by 48 basis points year on year. The second one is Canara HSBC Life, which has seen a very good business momentum in the first quarter of FY27, and that remains favorable with the distribution-led strategy that the company is focusing on right now to gain traction across the segments. The protection segment has been a key focus area for the company, and a healthy growth in VNB was supported by a better product mix. If we look at the numbers, then APE saw a growth of 19% year on year, and VNB was up by 29% as well. Also, VNB margin grew by 160 basis points to reach 21.1%. The last one is Action Construction Equipment, which has registered a very strong growth across all of the key metrics. The company achieved best ever Q1 revenues and margins, and this margin improvement is what has helped grow the company's bottom line during the quarter as well. If we check out the numbers, then revenue saw a growth of 20.5% year on year. EBITDA was up 27%. EBITDA margins also grew by 120 basis points. And lastly, PAT also saw a growth of 22.3% year on year. So these are the top three earnings that have been performing well today.
So that was the winners list. Jasmeet is here with the losers list. What's getting punished because of earnings, Jasmeet, today?
Well, Nisha, thank you for that. Here are the top three earnings that have been tanking in today's trade on the back of that weak numbers. The first one is transformers and rectifiers. We do see that the overall execution for this particular counter was weak in the Q1. When we look at the order book, that has been growing in a healthy format. The overall order inflows were up nearly 218% on YY basis, while the order backlog also saw an uptick of 26%, but the execution remains the key for this particular counter. Well, apart from that, if you look at the utilization, even that was low in this quarter on the back of the low utilization and lower growth which we saw at the Changodar facilities, while the Changodar facility expansion is expected in the month of August 2026. Further, the company maintains a healthy pipeline of roughly 23,000 odd crores. While the second counter is Advait Jewelries, while this stock is also tanking on the back of its weak numbers. Now, what we are seeing is the company has reported its Q4 numbers as recently listed company. When we look at the company for a financial year for FY26, the numbers have seen a good uptake. We have seen double-digit growth of revenue and EBITDA as well. But in terms of the Q4 performance, solely we see a weak performance. We see the overall revenue is down about 27%, while the EBITDA also tanked nearly 41% in this particular quarter, and that's why the stock is in pressure in today's trade. While the last one is Rallies India, while the company does note it has a strong numbers and good momentum and good growth, but the street's not liking the overall business mix for this particular counter. We are making us note that the overall B2B segment has declined by nearly 19% for this particular counter, though the B2C has supported the B2B decline in this quarter, but again, the B2B share has reduced, and even the margins see slight pressure in this particular counter as well.
All right, thank you so much, Jasmeet, as well as Parth, for giving us the winners and losers of the trading day. All right, thank you so much for joining in. Now let's take it straight across to, after a pause of 13 years, one of the most prestigious honors in Indian business is really back. On July 26th, NDTV Profit brings back the Business Leadership Award, celebrating the leaders, companies and entrepreneurs who have helped shape India's economic journey. And the nominees for Wealth Creator of the Year are: BSC enables capital formation to create wealth for generation of investors. Transformers and Rectifiers India transformed engineering expertise into one of the market's most compelling growth stories. MCX India transformed market participation while delivering exceptional value creation. Himadri Specialty Chemicals, leveraging innovation in specialty chemicals and advanced materials. Also on our list, Gallant Ispat, a story of manufacturing scale and disciplined execution, transforming industrial capability into sustained growth. Garden Reach Shipbuilders, combining strategic national importance with operational excellence. Newland Laboratories built a differentiated pharmaceutical business, creating lasting investor value. Business Leadership Awards, that's something you don't want to miss, only on NDTV Profit on 26th of July. But let's also take a look at the earnings that are really flashing on our screens. In fact, Arvind is the one which is really Arvind Fashion, and there you go, the stock is down 2%, EBITDA is up 19.9%, EBITDA margin 12.5%. On a YOY basis, it's an uptick of 0.5% when we talk about the profitability meters. But Arvind Fashion stock is the one which is under pressure, 23.8% downtick when we talk about the net profit figure, and the revenue figure is up 15.5% at 1279 crore rupees. EBITDA figure 19.9% up at 160 odd crore rupees versus 133 crore rupees on a YOY basis. We have to see the internals of the number on what is it that the market is really not liking, because on a YOY basis, when we to look at the profitability figure, that's where the margins have really seen an uptick. But of course, the net profit figure is a downtick on a YOY basis. Arvind Fashion on your radar. Of course, it's out of time on this edition of Markets at 12, but keep it with NDTV Profit. Lots of market action, news, views and earnings on the other side. Thank you so much.
Superstar Stocks of the Day, presented by Tata Azura. हर रास्ते का सुपरस्टार.
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार, विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
याद है ना मैंने क्या सिखाया था? सिल्वर के लिए स्टर्लिंग मार्क, गोल्ड के लिए हॉलमार्क और मस्टर्ड ऑयल के लिए सिर्फ पी मार्क।
इस बार तो माँ से भी बेहतर बना।
P Mark, the mustard specialist since 1933. बरसों से सरसों। कुछ तो बात है इस दिल में।
We are over, Jimmy.
हे, लाइफ में स्क्रैचेस तो आएंगे। गाड़ी के स्क्रैचेस को तो कॉस्मो पीपी अब संभाल लेगा। आप अपना देख लो।
अंबा शक्ति प्लांट की वर्ल्ड रेनाउंड टेक्नोलॉजी देती है स्टील को ज्यादा ताकत हर बार। अंबा शक्ति SDTMT।
पर जब इंसान प्रकृति के साथ सामंजस्य को आत्मसात कर लेता है तो वो मधुर और लालन पोषण करने वाली बन जाती है। पी मार्क सरसों के तेल ने प्राकृतिक तरीके से सरसों के तेल को बनाया है शुद्धता और गुणवत्ता के साथ।
The mustard specialist since 1933. बरसों से सरसों। कुछ तो बात है इस दिल में।
India Inc.'s most respected names chose India Inc.'s best and brightest.
These kind of awards and jury lineup, you are truly giving it the right weightage.
I think it's heartening to see talent that there is across India Inc.
We should be awarding companies and individuals who have focused not only on growth but also on bringing good governance. Be part of jury and vote on the people, the men.
Hello and welcome to NDTV Profit, Suzlon Studio. You're watching Trending Stocks with me, Hiral Dadia, and Sharad Dubey, who's standing at the Profit Market Pit. Sharad, good afternoon. I mean, we're nearly at the day's lowest levels. A mild recovery that's coming in there in terms of where markets are concerned. There is this consolidation phase that you're looking at, and the moment you reach a certain high, you're seeing profit booking and some bit of buying interest at lower levels as well. That's been the trend over the last couple of trading days.
Right, you are exactly correct. Right point out. Good afternoon, Hiral. Largely, the markets are in a very narrow range, and Hiral had mentioned a little bit of momentum earlier, then sell-off, and then consolidation at play. But it's a very tight range. Just look at it, 50 to 60 points. That's where the reactions are happening. Nifty Bank, let's pull up what's happening there. It might be much more tighter range there. Full flat right now. So literally there is no trend happening, no major direction coming for the benchmark indices. That means the action is there in the small cap and the mid cap space, especially with the earnings. Remember, it's a nifty expiry, but no major action is happening. So that's a little bit of, you could say, not a concern, but definitely the action has shifted from the benchmark indices. That's what I'm talking about. Let's move ahead and understand what are the key other factors to watch out for. And this is where the trades are happening. That's where the volumes are also present, and the mid cap, small cap are in the green as well. That means the broader markets are doing good. Stock specific trade with the Q1 numbers, if you have to play positions on this. And moving on, another important factor will be the NBFC. Strong buying coming in, and we have seen RBI's dollar push. So there's a sentimentally positive reaction happening in most of the NBFCs and gold financiers. But the global asset classes, they have turned steady. Most of them, oil, gold. Is there a ceasefire hope, or is there something building up here? That's the question. Ruby has stabilized on the RBI intervention as well. So that is showing a good momentum here. The neutral to muted D Street debut coming in. SBI funds up 8%. Grey market premium was as high as 15-20% yesterday. Alpine Techs muted. You could say it's in a lower circuit right now. So decent kind of earnings is something which we are looking at. Bajaj Auto, TVS Motor, these are the two nifty earnings we'll be tracking, and of course Adani Energy as well. Other group of Q1 earnings also I'd like to point out: Adani Total Gas, Indian Hotels, important corporate development might happen here, and Bandhan Bank as well. So these are the 6 important earnings which we are tracking. But yes, no major moves is happening, at least in the benchmark indices. Stock specific approach.
Okay, so stock specific approach is what you're looking at, but let's quickly look at the watch list. CMPDI, that is the subsidiary of Coal India, strong Q1 double-digit revenue and EBITDA growth, on the back of which the stock is up 6.5%. Advait Jewels will be joined by the management as well. It's a weak Q4 and the revenues are down 28%. Apart from that, Action Construction is seeing some smart moves again on the back of a double-digit revenue growth and strong numbers as well. Canara HSBC, the VNB margins have come in at 21.1% versus a 19.5% on a year-on-year basis, and hence that stock is reacting positively. A strong Q1 reported by Sobha Realty as well, and a strong uptick in margins is what is keeping that stock afloat with gains of 1%. What is under pressure? Tyrrell. A weak set of numbers, Margins have dipped to some extent. That stock is down 4.5% as we speak. JP Power is also in focus on the back of a strong quarter. Bluestone Jewelry again at 10.5% up move. The company has actually turned profitable on a year-on-year basis, and hence you're seeing that 10% kind of a move coming in on that counter. Rallis India is very interesting because the numbers optically look very strong. However, the stock is under pressure because no one is convinced that the company will be able to sustain the margins because this time it's only on the back of manpower cost reversal that the margins are looking good, and the management is not really confirmed about maintaining margins. What they've come out and said is that volume will be of utmost priority, and then they will be looking at the margins as a second priority to some extent. So that's Rallis India. Bajaj Healthcare has reported a mixed quarter, a 4% downtick coming in there. MTAR Technologies, the worries with regards to a key client with Bloom Energy is what is posting concerns around MTAR. In fact, that stock is really under pressure in the last 1 month. Karur Vysya, strong moves coming in there. Advances have crossed the 1 lakh crore mark, a very good set of numbers. United Breweries is at a 2-month high, strong volumes there. SBI Funds listed at almost a 7 to 8% premium. Bajaj Auto will be reporting numbers today, so that stock is in focus along with TVS Motors. Bharti Hexacom, where HSBC has initiated a buy and they have a target price of 2050. You have Paytm. The margins, the contribution margins have dipped this time around for a Paytm, and they've not really gone ahead with the bonus issue as well. Jindal Stainless is again reacting on the back of the Goldman Sachs report. And you have Wanbury. The US FDA has concluded the GNP inspection with some observations, and that's what has put the stock under pressure. Cuts of 3% coming in there. So Sharad, we have an interesting list, but over to you to actually take the rapid fire.
Thanks a lot, Hiral, for that. We are joined in by Somil Mehta. Good afternoon, Somil. Always a pleasure to have you. We'll start a rapid fire round, and the first stock is CMDL. Central Mining Planning, if you have to take the full form, and of course the numbers have been pretty strong. Do you think there'll be more follow-on buying in this counter? Of course the history is on the lower side, but I wanted to just see the charts right now, whatever available data we have.
Absolutely positive on the stock, trading about the short-term averages. I'll keep a stop loss around 248 and hold on to the stock, and probably even buy more from here.
Right, good numbers coming in from Action Construction Equipment, Ace Constructions, and of course this is a quarter where we could say that largely infra work has not happened. A good surprise or a turnaround in the numbers. Do you think this will sustain, or will it need some more power?
Yeah, absolutely positive on the Action Construction as well. My targets would be above 1180, and my next target probably above that would be 1250. So positive on that. Probably you can add more from here.
Right, even the losses have come down in the Q1 numbers of Bluestone. A good momentum play as well. Anything on the weekly charts here?
Bluestone positive. However, keep a very strict stop loss around 590. Hold on to it. I would be expecting a target above 750.
Right, another stock is Karur Vysya Bank. Good quarterly numbers. Of course, valuation seems stretched, but nevertheless a good follow-up buying happening in today's trade. Good time to book a little bit of profits in this counter.
I think you can hold on to it. I'm still expecting the stock to continue the uptrend. So hold on to it.
Next stock is United Breweries. Wanted to get those important levels on the chart, and if there is any good risk reward, then is there a trade at play?
UBL definitely, I think in the very short term, I'm very positive. Not in the medium term, but in the very short term, keep a stop loss around 350, 345 levels, and I'll be expecting a target of around 1500. So positive in the short term, but no confirmation in the medium term.
Will you be buying the dip in Paytm? The numbers were good, but of course there was, they clawed back the bonus announcement, and the street is a little bit concerned on the flows. So good time to buy the dip for Paytm?
Not yet. I'll be positive on the stock, but the stock can slip down till 1250. So keep it on the watch list. Buy on decline should be the strategy.
Buy on decline for Paytm, but right now keep it on watch list. That's the view coming in. But that's the end of rapid fire round. Over to you, Hiral. What are the Google trending stocks?
Guess what, Sharad? You know, there's only one which is trending on Google today, and that is SBI funds on the back of the listing. Let's pull up that one on the screens and see what's happening. It listed at a premium of nearly 7%, but it's interesting. You have a SBI which is trending on the back of the listing, I'm assuming. But the stock is down nearly 6/10 to 0.7% as we speak. Somil, any view when it comes to SBI?
SBI absolutely positive. The PSU banks are really doing good. SBI is a large cap, so probably a slow mover at this point of time, but still positive. I'll be expecting this trend to continue. PSU bank, the smaller PSU banks are looking really good, like Union Bank, Bank of India, Bank of Baroda. So these stocks are really doing good. So positive on PSU banks.
Okay, so positive with regards to where PSU banks go as well. Thank you so much, Samal, for joining in. It's always a pleasure to speak to you. Now, Advait Jewels, let's pull up that one on the screens and see what that counter is doing in trade. They've reported numbers, and it has been a weak show with a sharp fall across revenue, profits and margins. What's really gone wrong this quarter? Nitin Gilara, Chairman and Managing Director at Advait Jewels, joins in. Welcome to the show, Nitin. Always a pleasure to speak to you. This is Hiral on this side. You know, my question coming to you is, I think the street is really concerned with the way the first quarter of FY27 has panned out with downtick across parameters right now. How would you rate the quarter as per your internal expectations?
So I think now as the war has settled down, as we said, and now people are habitual of it, I feel so. So it's going on well now. People are taking it well. Bridal jewelry collections are being appreciated a lot. We are getting good demands. And coming up festive season, I think we will be looking for great business ahead. I think so. We also have some new collections coming up. So I think it will be fabulous next few months because the season is going to start by August.
Hi Nitinji, this is Sharad here. Wanted to understand, of course the Q2 sentiment is generally for a jewelry company is kind of a muted, but wanted to understand, the studded mix, that is something which everybody talks about. What is that studded mix of yours? And if you could just explain us our business model, because your company is relatively new, it was recently listed. So that will be important for our viewers.
So basically, let me tell you about the company. We are into luxury jewelry manufacturing. We are not into that generic jewelry production which goes on in the market normally. So this luxury bridal and design-centered jewelry, usually it has trends. And basic trend starts from when this August season comes, when it's a festival season we call. From here till Diwali, it's a festival season. After that, it's a bridal season. So they are very strong on that. In fact, being organized in the sector now, we are making different strategies on making more of jewelry which is acceptable in particular season. So this August till Diwali will be a festival season where we are working on more of lighter jewelry, which will be worn in daily and festival days, and later it will be for the bridal.
Nitin, just to understand now, you mentioned about that the war is over, things should settle down. But a 28% downtick in terms of revenue, or 46% downtick in terms of profits. EBITDA margins have also fallen from nearly 36% to 29%. The rest of the FY26 overall has been very strong. This downtick has happened only in the fourth quarter is what I understand right now. So what has caused this downtick? Is it demand related? Is there any inventory correction that you've seen by retailers, or is it volatility in gold prices?
No, basically the war was at its peak at that time. Luxury jewelry business was affected a bit because if we check in January till March, a lot of effect was there. We were just getting this particular bridal jewelry. It always is being bought with that comfort. That time, people were not very sure about what is going to happen. But I think by end of March, things settled down a bit. As I told you that now this quarter which we have just passed on. In fact, this was a good quarter for us. We just came back, and I think now I think so by January and March, if whatever is left, which we could not do, I think it will be coming up in the coming next quarter more, as the demands were there, and I think we will be getting more businesses.
Right. Thank you so much, Nitin, for joining in. Always a pleasure to speak to you. We'll have to cut this conversation slightly short because we have Bajaj Auto numbers that have just come in right now. The revenue number, let me just pull up that. The profit number is coming at 2,983 odd crores, and the expectation was around 2,762 crores, so marginally above what the street was estimating. However, the stock is correcting sharply after seeing that uptick. Let's see what has caused that, because the profit number is pretty much slightly above what the street was estimating. Let me look at the margin number as well. The revenues have come in at 17,244 versus 16,959. So even the top line number is above what the street was estimating with regards to where Bajaj Auto goes. Let's look at the margin. The expectation was 20.1%. The margins have come in at 20.9%. So across the three parameters, the numbers are looking slightly better than what the street was estimating. But the stock now is starting to find its way up. Let's pull up the intraday chart, because at least at the face of it, the three parameters that I'm looking at right now in terms of revenue, margins and profitability, all the three are above, slightly above the street estimates. In fact, let me head across to my colleague Puneet, who's standing by with Sharad to tell us more in terms of what the first cut so far is indicating. Sharad, Puneet, over to you.
Thanks a lot, Hiral. Puneet, the numbers are out for Bajaj Auto. What are the key first cut takeaways?
I think the biggest surprise is actually coming on margins, because we were expecting roughly around 20.3 to 20.4% in terms of margin profile. It's coming at 20.9, and that's largely led by what they have seen higher realizations in the export market. So I think that margin has flown through in terms of the performance visible in the EBITDA numbers. Also in terms of profitability, also that has given a big boost in terms of the numbers as well, because of the higher margin profiles of the export side. So that continues to be one of the key positives. It's also the first quarter for Rakesh Sharma as the joint managing director of the company. So we'll be hearing from the company in terms of what the strategy changes going forward. We'll also have to note on the KTM impact, because this is the first full quarter that KTM is getting integrated after Bajaj acquired it, and now that you already saw the numbers from KTM, which were also strong for this quarter. So all of those factors seem to have worked for Bajaj in this particular quarter. The profitability number at 2,900 odd crore is also higher than the estimates of almost roughly around 2,700 crores that we were working with. So it's definitely a good number in terms of both the EBITDA margins as well as in the profitability metric. Revenue was somewhat also similar, because we already had the volume number for the company, but overall a good set of numbers for the company.
Thanks a lot, Puneet, for that, and we'll get you the details and the internals also for Bajaj Auto. And as of now, the stock volatility is there coming in the counter. But now we are joined in by Avinash Gorashkar also. Good afternoon, Avinash. Always a pleasure to have you. Now just see the Bajaj Auto numbers. Largely, Puneet spoke that the numbers were beating the street estimates. But remember, there's a caveat. KTM integration is also at play. The initial first cut, how do you see it planning out for Bajaj Auto?
I think Sharad, numbers definitely are in line with expectations. I think on the margin front, I think the company has delivered. But yes, I think in terms of the KTM integration, one would like to get the management commentary and what kind of growth the company is penciling in for the current financial year. I think hopefully the first quarter has been reasonably good. I think going forward, if the motorcycle business and the electric scooter business does well, and volumes growth are much better than what the street expects, then I think you should expect a decent uptick on the stock. I think these numbers are definitely not bad. They are in line with market expectations. But probably I think the stock had run up significantly, so some profit booking after the results was anticipated.
So that's definitely we'll watch out for. But another counter, MTA Tech, and we had actually warned you earlier, around 2 months ago, especially on the valuations front. And now we see continuous lower circuits are happening in this counter. Today also the stock is down. One of its important partners, where almost 55 to 65% of revenue comes. That's Bloom Energy I'm talking about. Regulatory issues are coming in. Stock is correcting there. It's also corrected here as well. Remember, the stock is in the trade-to-trade segment right now. Avinash, your views on MTA Tech? We had raised earlier at NDTV Profit on the valuations, and now we are seeing the overall corrections happening.
No, I think, Sharad, this company still continues to be valued at expensive valuations. And I think considering the regulatory issues which you pointed out, I think unless the market gets a little bit clarity on how the numbers are going to be guided, for the current financial year, I would not be surprised that some further selling can be expected. I think since it's T2T, I think there is genuine selling, from investors, and I think the stock will stabilize only when the management gives some clarity on the Bloom Energy deal and how they want to proceed at. So I think clearly avoidable even at these valuations.
Avoidable at these valuations is what you're seeing. But moving on, Bharti Hexacom, that's another one to focus on. And HSBC has initiated a buy. They have a target price of 2050. They're saying it's robust growth and the focus is on shareholder returns. The stock with growth tailwinds amidst a favorable market structure and pure play India exposure and disciplined capital allocation. In fact, Hexacom has a superior growth outlook to its parents, which is Bharti Airtel. And they're expecting FY27 to 29 dividend estimates at around 22 to 48% above consensus. That stock at the day's highest levels. A quick view, Avinash, in terms of Bharti Hexacom?
No, I think this is a good compounder stock, Hiral. My sense is, they've been doing pretty well. And most importantly, ever since it went public, they've been always delivering on the numbers. So my sense is it's a good portfolio stock if somebody takes a 12 to 18 month view. Even at the current levels, if one were to take a fresh position, I would say that the risk reward would be reasonably good, considering the fact that the growth potential still continues to be quite solid. So I think one should add on decline, but yes, from a slightly medium to long term angle.
But another counter is Canara HSBC Life Insurance. Strong set of quarterly numbers coming in, and if you're tracking the sector, the value of new business, that has done really well. A healthy growth coming in the product mix also, and the non-ULIP segment is something where the momentum was there in the product mix. Avinash, just wanted to get your initial views on this. Surprisingly good set of numbers operationally for Canara HSBC Life.
Yeah, I think, Sharad, as you rightly pointed out, the VNB has increased significantly. And I think that is one critical, parameter which we see in insurance companies. So I think, this is the startup quarter. Typically, the April to June quarter is the startup season for insurance companies. I think the third and the fourth quarter is typically the strongest. So I think we'll like to, take a call on how the company performs in the next, say, 2 to 3 quarters. But definitely at these levels, good long-term value can be possible.
Stock which was our brokerage call at 9:05, and that is Jindal Stainless. And now look at the stock reaction. The stock is seeing a good buying momentum. Goldman Sachs coming out with a report, and the upside potential significant, almost 20% from the current market prices, and a big beneficiary of the rising domestic consumption. And also the balance sheet is strong enough to support a 2x capacity addition. Avinash, your final views coming in for the stock. Of course, stock is fundamentally doing well as well. How do you see this going ahead?
I think, stainless steel, Sharad, is a value-added kind of product and very few players in the market. So I think clearly, somebody who wants to take a slightly longer-term call can definitely think of adding this in a staggered way. Definitely good numbers, good fundamentals. And I think the next, 2 to 3 quarters should be equally good. So definitely the bias is positive.
With regards to Jindal Stainless as we speak. Now, transformers and rectifiers, Tarol, that's another stock to focus on in today's day of trade. Let's pull up that one on the screens. Stock slightly under pressure as we speak. It's weak execution. The order inflow is though up 218%. The backlog is up around 26%. Revenues, a marginal uptick of around 8% coming in there. The low growth is due to low utilization at the Changodar facility, and the expansion is expected by August 2026. So there could be pressure that could continue in the second half as well from an execution perspective. The company has maintained a healthy pipeline of close to 23,000 odd crores. So the order book is very strong. Backlog is going to be an issue because execution is going to be an issue as well. And only by August 2026 is when you will know whether they're able to come in on stream on that front. Avinash, quick view with regards to Tarol?
I think it continues to be a hold from our side. I think order book and order inflows have been good, but as you mentioned, execution has been weak. So I think until the market gets a sense on how confident the market is, the management is in delivering the execution side, I think the stock will remain in a small range. So we continue to maintain a hold. No fresh buying suggested.
No fresh buying suggested, but continue to hold a Tarol if you have one. But thank you, Avinash, so much for joining in. Always a pleasure to speak to you and get your views as well. But moving on. After a pause of 13 years, one of the most prestigious honors in Indian business is back. On the 26th of July, NDTV Profit brings back the Business Leadership Awards, celebrating the leaders, companies, and entrepreneurs who have helped shape India's economic journey. And the nominees for AI Champion of the Year, Sarvam AI, building India's answer to global AI giants. NESA, creating the critical GPU infrastructure powering the nation's next generation of AI innovation. Fractal Analytics helps place Indian AI expertise on the global map through innovation-led problem solving. Cure AI, using AI to detect diseases before the symptoms become fatal. Karya, built an ethical model that empowers underserved communities while creating high-quality AI training datasets. Emergent, redefining how applications are built in the era of autonomous AI. This is something that everyone is going to look forward to. Lots of categories that are there, and trust me, you are going to enjoy to understand who's the winner and why on the 26th of July. Only on NDTV Profit we will be streaming live. So please stay tuned and keep yourself free. So Sharad, I think
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आपका पार्सल फिर से हमारे घर पे आया है।
कुछ तो बात है इस दिल में।
माँ भी हमेशा पी मार्क मस्टर्ड ऑयल में ही खाना बनाती थी। ये आपके लिए।
कुछ तो बात है इस दिल में। P-Mark, the mustard specialist since 1933.
सरसों से सरसों।
We are over, Jimmy.
हे, लाइफ में स्क्रैचेस तो आएंगे। गाड़ी के स्क्रैचेस को तो कॉस्मो पीपी अब संभाल लेगा। आप अपना देख लो।
अंबा शक्ति प्लांट की वर्ल्ड रेनाउंड टेक्नोलॉजी देती है स्टील को ज्यादा ताकत हर बार। अंबा शक्ति SDTMT।
याद है ना मैंने क्या सिखाया था? सिल्वर के लिए स्टर्लिंग मार्क, गोल्ड के लिए हॉलमार्क और मस्टर्ड ऑयल के लिए सिर्फ पी मार्क।
इस बार तो माँ से भी बेहतर बना।
P-Mark, the mustard specialist since 1933. बरसों से सरसों। कुछ तो बात है इस दिल में।
India Inc.'s most respected names chose India Inc.'s best and brightest.
I'm delighted to be a chairman of such distinguished fellow businessmen, bankers. It's lovely to be back on this NDTV jury. I have been a fan of NDTV for a long time.
Many of the nominees are extremely close together in terms of what they've done.
I think it's also important that how they are reshaping the industries, commercial activities which they are into. And it's a very judicious mix of people to choose from. My compliments to the team.
Who will earn India's top business honors? Find out at the NDTV Profit Business Leadership Awards. India's unshakable news habit. NDTV.com is India's #1 English news website. They built, they led, they redefined the business conversation. Now, India Inc.'s finest takes center stage. Who will win the NDTV Profit Business Leadership Awards? 26 July on the NDTV network.
Hi, I'm Tamanna Inamdar. Watch me on NDTV Profit, where I break down the day's biggest business stories. What happened, why it matters, and what it means for your money.
Hi, I'm Neeraj Shah. Watch me on NDTV Profit for the most incisive market intelligence and meaningful corporate conversations.
And I'm Alex Matthew. Markets, mutual funds, insurance, personal finance. I help you cut through the noise and make smarter financial choices. And here's where you can watch us.
Benchmark slipped to the day's low. Nifty 50 hovers near 24,160. Sensex meanwhile sheds more than 270 odd points. PSU Bank as well as IT top sectoral laggards, realty and metal on the flip side remain resilient. And slew of companies buzzing after reporting earnings as well, while Canara HSBC Life delivers a healthy set of numbers coming in. Weak quarter weighs on transformers and rectifiers, and Bajaj Health Paytm edges lower despite earnings beat. And the latest addition, Bajaj Auto as well, that reports a strong set of numbers in the first quarter. Stock reaction awaited. Karur Vysya Bank shares jump after the lender posted a robust June quarter performance. Net profit surges 45% on a year-on-year basis. Robust earnings growth supported by strong interest income and sharply lower provisions. SBI Funds Management extends gains after strong stock market debut, listing nearly 7% above its IPO price. With the listing, the company has become India's second largest asset manager by market capitalization. Good afternoon, you're watching Lunchtime Trades with me, Shreyansi Singh, and this is the show that gets you a roundup in terms of everything that is happening in the world of commodities, news and updates as well on the top buzzers at this hour, all while you grab lunch. But before we do that, let's also talk about everything that is happening with the markets also right now, and it's a little bit of pressure that you're seeing coming in. Look at Nifty 50 at almost at its day's lowest point as well, about a 90 odd point cut coming in. When you talk about Sensex as well, about 270 odd points lower as well. Let's take a look at now. It's actually deepened with that 340 point cut also coming in very close to the day's lowest points as well, and hovering very close to that as well. When you talk about the entire list of gainers and losers in terms of sectors, let's also take a look at that as well, because it's actually IT that's in focus. There's of course PSU banks that are definitely in focus as well in terms of the sectoral performance right now. PSU Bank as well as IT are the top sectoral laggards that you're looking at. That's the kind of sectoral picture that you have at hand. So a little bit of a mixed negative bias that you're really seeing coming in terms of some of the sectors right now. And when you talk about the list of gainers and losers from within the Nifty 50 pack, it's actually the earnings buzzers that make it to that list. So PSU Bank, FMCG, IT, in terms of sectors on the back foot, what's doing quite well is metals, realty, pharma, as well as auto. So that largely seems to be the sectoral flavor right now, very sharply tilted in the favor of red as well. But you know, when you talk about the list of gainers and losers, let's quickly take a glance at that as well from within the Nifty 50 as well. You do have a bunch of earnings counters that are going to be remaining in focus as well. So something like a transformers and rectifiers after a weak set of numbers from within the broader universe, that one's in focus. When you talk about some of the other companies as well, something like an Aegis Logistics with that 3.5% odd cut also coming in. And when you talk about the entire Nifty 50 pack as well, it's actually HDFC Bank, Infosys, Power Grid, Trent, TCS, some of those names. Even heavyweight Reliance also not doing any heavy lifting at this point in time with that 1% cut also coming in. When you talk about the list of top gainers as well, something like a Shriram Finance remaining resilient, some of your IT counters, and some counters on the back of their earnings and specifically the brokerage upgrades as well, the likes of Ultratech Cement. Some of those counters also holding quite resilient right now from the entire Nifty 50 pack as well. But it's actually the entire auto space that's also a little bit in focus on the back of the numbers that have just come out. When you talk about Bajaj Auto just a short while ago as well. And that stock is in focus on the back of a strong set of numbers in the first quarter, and it's actually the profit that's risen about 42.3 odd % as well, and that stock is in focus. When you talk about the entire Nifty Auto pack as well, as you can see, some of the counters like Exide are remaining quite resilient. And when you talk about Bajaj Auto as well, that's in focus on the back of the revenue uptick as well as the profit and EBITDA uptick. So across the board, decent numbers, and on the back of that, that stock is in focus. But what else is in focus is, of course, oil prices that are remaining a little bit steady right now. In terms of the kind of move that you have coming in, it's actually a couple of factors that you're looking at in terms of oil as well. When you talk about Brent, you're seeing a little bit of weakness coming in. WTI, some bit of strength as well. And a couple of factors that are very important to watch out for here. On the one side, you do have the ceasefire efforts that are really keeping the market on edge. and you do have those hopes really cooling crude's rally. On the flip side, there's actually shipping risks that could be oil's key wild card as well. And on the back of that, oil price is something to watch out for. Same can be said about gold, where there's actually a lot of catalysts right now at play. In fact, NS Ramaswamy, head commodity desk and CRM at Ventura, joins us right now to get us a check going in terms of all of those catalysts that we're going to be talking about as well. Thank you so much for taking time out and joining us, and a very good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
First things first, just wanted to try and understand what you think about the, sort of movements that you're seeing coming in terms of the double-edged sword for oil prices right now. On one hand, you do have, it's a tale of two triggers really. On one side, you do have the shipping disruptions. On the other side, there seems to be a little bit of optimism building when it comes to peace as well. How are you looking at that entire picture, and what kind of levels are you pricing for the rest of the week?
Yeah, it's a mixed scenario, as you rightly pointed out. But if you also were to check the inventory levels of crude oil, if you were to see the US strategic reserves, that's remaining at a very, very historical low levels, and the global inventories are also continuing to shrink. So these are one of the triggers that is again giving, besides the fact that the geopolitical tensions are still between the US and the Iran continuing to escalate and not giving a very clear direction. And these high energy costs are, in fact, for the US and the Federal Reserve, it's reigniting the inflation tensions, and that could actually keep the interest rates elevated for a longer period. So basically, whether it's going to then support the US dollar, it's going to support the treasury yield, and these are the impact of the crude oil, which is going to actually, and we need to actually wait and watch. As an economic data, if you were to see, the Federal Reserve is coming out on 27th and 28th of July with the FOMC meeting. We need to see how they are going to work out. Crude oil inventory report is coming up tomorrow, the day after, Thursday, 23rd July, and that's also going to give us a very clear stand about how ECB is going to work out on their interest rate decisions. So basically, the macro picture, it is a mixed feelings as regards the geopolitical tensions as well as the fundamental driven factors which are seeing in the oil.
Absolutely. And when you talk about US pump prices as well, they crossed about $4 again on some of those renewed tensions and some of those higher energy prices across the board that we've been seeing. When you talk about oil as well, it's been definitely in focus. But in terms of how high oil can go also, what kind of levels are you looking at on the upside if there is this significant escalation? And on the flip side, if there's a de-escalation of sorts, what do you then expected by the way of prices?
It all depends on how technically the traders would take up the bull rally beyond these levels. So the tensions have to, the escalation has to ease out if the escalation continues. Even if you were to see the latest Goldman Sachs report, which is talking of even $120, which is slightly very unimaginable that would the crude oil prices shoot up to those levels. But the way the trend is going on, if the geopolitical tensions continues the way it is, it would still range in that $85 to $90. So I don't see that crossing those levels, but definitely in that 85 to 90 level with the present technical move that we saw right from $69, $70, we are seeing this because of also the factor which I said, the inventory levels. We need to wait and watch on 23rd how the inventory levels are being talked about and the geopolitical tensions are going to get escalated or not. So 85, 90 are the range which are likely to be the spike that could happen.
No, absolutely, and we'll talk about that report as well in just a bit. Just quickly wanted to get a sense of what you think about gold prices as well. It's been a little bit steady, but it's actually the $4,000 an ounce level that's quite important to watch out for as well. Do you see that level also being maintained this week?
Yeah, it's very, very good performance by gold. It's been a very much a pause. It's not shown any bearish indication by breaking those supports of 4,000. Yes, briefly it came down to 3,980 levels. Basically, it is under tremendous pressure fundamentally as well as technical, because factors continuing to favor the US dollar and also the persistent expectations that a very hawkish Fed Reserve trend should come up. That is combining with the geopolitical tensions which I just now mentioned about the oil. So those are the triggers that can take up the inflation and the Fed. So gold is slightly remaining under pressure. If we were to see a decisive cross beyond $4,080 per ounce, and if it crosses the 4,150 level, and that is the thing where we can say the consolidation phase is broken and could start changing the trend. Reversal could start beyond $4,150 per ounce.
And what do you think about the higher yields also remaining gold's biggest headwind? Because that is something that we've been seeing as a little bit of a key concern as well when it comes to gold.
Basically, if you were to see the yield, we need to see not only the 10-year yield, we have to see the way the 2-year yield has been surging. The 2-year yield is almost close to 4.20. So it's actually peaked somewhere. So during July 14th, if you were to see, it was around 4.29 or 4.30. So this 2-year yield and the 10-year yield has to tame down. And as we said about the geopolitical things, and this yield is one factor which can turn around the situation. The way the ECB is very crucial, because dollar index almost 41% contribution is from the European Central Bank. So we need to wait and watch how the currency impacts and the dollar index, and that could also drive the yield. So yield is very much favoring towards the dollar index, and it is a pressure building on the gold.
And when you talk about the report that we were talking about earlier as well, you do have Goldman Sachs really talking about how some of the escalation in the Middle East and the decline in the estimated Persian Gulf flows to below 45% of pre-war levels. That's something that seems to have pushed prices back up according to them. But when you talk about that base case, it's actually quite lower in terms of that average at $80 a barrel. Are you then penciling in that similar kind of level if there's a de-escalation? Of course, there's no sort of outlook that we have at this point, unless that really happens. But that's something that you would be looking at as well in terms of prices.
Basically, we need to go to the economics of demand and supply part of it. The demand is because even now from the Hormuz, the shipments aren't moving around. So that there can be a pressure on the crude oil as regards the demand part of it also. So let's not forget that aspect of it. If the crude has to really come down, but then if there are scope that $120 is whatever estimation which he has talked about, they are predicting, we see those levels even only at around maybe 85-90, which are very crucial resistance level. We do not see that crossing those levels at this point in time. The inventory, which I repeatedly would like to mention, how that is coming out and giving an indication whether the dependence on the crude oil inventory is giving a situation as regards the supply side of the crude oil also.
No, absolutely. That supply side is definitely in focus, and it's all back to demand-supply fundamentals, especially in the face of all of the supply concerns that seem to have been mounting on the back of the escalation as well. Thank you so much for taking time out and joining us this afternoon. So there you go. That's the entire outlook coming in terms of oil prices, and also Goldman Sachs saying that $120 a barrel is also not very far away if the Hormuz conflict really persists as well. But let's also move on and talk about a key conversation in terms of Nimesh Chandan, CIO at Bajaj Asset Management, also talking about the ongoing earnings season and why he also believes that crude oil remains the biggest macro wildcard coming in for the markets. Let's go across and listen in to that bit of conversation.
It is my pleasure to introduce you to Nimesh Chandan, the CIO of Bajaj Asset Management. Nimesh, it is my pleasure to speak with you as always. Let me ask you about what you've made of the initial trends that you're seeing this earnings season, particularly at a time when just as we thought that the external front pressures would dissipate, they've once again seared upwards, right? So crude oil price back at close to $90 per barrel, but it seems like the print on the earnings is better than a lot of people had anticipated. What's your thought?
Hi, Alex. Always nice talking to you. If I were to summarize our view on so far the result season, I would say positive surprise. We were expecting, after all the geopolitical issues, the issues 2 months back, we were worried about oil supplies, gas supplies, inflation rising, super El Nino. Now, compared to all that, and now the result updates which have come in, or the quarterly updates that some of the companies have given at the beginning of the quarter, they look much better than expected, whether it is credit growth, whether it is consumption growth. So actually, we are positively surprised. Certain sectors are expected to be under pressure, like, for example, IT, where we were expecting slower growth, and that has impacted their valuations also. So that has gone as per expectation. So net, while we don't see a very sharp increase in earnings for the Nifty so far, but with the results that have come, the trends are definitely positive.
Nimesh, Hiralia, the trends are positive. Now, if you have to correlate that to what's happening in the markets, down less than 10% at least from the last highs as well in terms of Nifty 50. But what is concerning is that we've always remained range bound in the recent past right now, and that's what investors are concerned about. In that kind of a scenario, are you seeing any green shoots where investors should start looking at in terms of sectors then?
That's a very interesting question. Internally with the team, we've been debating whether we should give a market outlook only based on Nifty, or should we actually give a separate outlook for mid caps and small caps. Look what has happened in the market. Small caps have had a fantastic rally since March. And the index is up more than 25%. Similarly, mid cap index is at a new high. I think small cap also intraday it went to a new high. So it's a Nifty which is under pressure. Nifty is seeing some of the sectors, some of the companies having some specific issues because of which the overall earnings growth is looking a little muted, and it is also affecting the valuations. So while Nifty, we are still bullish, we still think that the intrinsic value of Nifty is around 27,000, which means we are hoping for a new high soon. But the momentum in earnings and in stock prices of mid caps and small caps is fantastic. Even in terms of sectors, we see green shoots, or we see positive commentaries from most of the sectors. IT is the only sector where we see some kind of pressure. In banking also, though the stocks have reacted very sharply, but if you see, the numbers are not that bad. And many of the large companies are seeing a turnaround in their credit growth numbers, in their NIMs. So that will continue for the year. So, and valuations are very attractive. It takes a little bit of patience. So I don't know which one will move first, but there is a good amount of companies to select from. If you're looking at the broader market, say in BSE 500, you can create a fantastic portfolio today which has quality, growth, and value.
Well, there you go. So that's Nimesh Chandan talking about the earnings growth and outlook that we've seen coming in, crude prices. But one thing that's interesting that he's mentioned is also that sharp reaction coming in for some of those banking counters as well. When you talk about something like a Bank of Baroda down about 2.5%, HDFC Bank down about 1.5%. Some of those stocks are also in focus from within the Nifty Bank constituents as well. And when you talk about HDFC Bank, there's actually a very interesting other update that we also have coming in when you talk about this particular counter. Reports are suggesting that HDFC Bank has delayed recommending the reappointment of MD and CEO Sashidhar Jagdishan also to the RBI. In fact, Sharad is standing by with all of those important details as well. That stock is almost at the day's lowest points right now. Sharad, let's talk about this latest development.
Well, there is a concern coming in for HDFC Bank, and media reports are suggesting that the HDFC Bank CEO's reappointment has been delayed. Now, if looking at a little bit of details from these media reports, it's suggesting that there will be a board review, but it's actually delayed right now, and the independent directors have taken this extra review before recommending the CEO's appointment to RBI. Also, the board aims to finish the review at least in the first week of August. That means there is a delay at play, and bank is yet to recommend the reappointment
appointment of the MD and CEO Shashidhar Jagdishan. But I'll just give you a little bit of background also. The CEO Shashidhar Jagdishan's current tenure ends in the month of October, and earlier the external legal review team had given a clean sheet on the governance of the bank, and there was no substance coming in from the ex-chairman's claim as well, as he was Atanu Chakrabarti, who had resigned abruptly in the month of March. So yes, there is overhang in the stock, and that's what we are seeing in the street right now.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for getting us all of those details. Let's talk about the newest kid on the block. Let's also talk about SBI Funds Management and try and pull that counter up for you as well. You're looking at somewhere close to 8% gains also coming in on that particular counter. And when you talk about the listing, it was somewhere close to a 7% premium as well. Right now, when you talk about some of the key commentary also coming in from the management, they're talking about how SBI is backing in terms of, it's a key driver coming in for SBI funds as well. Let's go across and listen in to that bit of commentary from the management as well.
The SETI, of course, SBI's parentage was very important to the listing here and pushing this forward. How strong, how did SBI approach this listing? In that sense, how did that brand name sort of build out the reputation and the premium that this listing has brought through? If you could take us through that a little bit. Similar question to you, Mr. Calgon, with Amundi's role here, what sort of role did you play in getting this IPO forward and building this out in the way it did?
So coming to SBI, I think it's not only the largest distributor of the mutual fund products. As I mentioned in my speech also, that we wanted to bring this investment opportunity to a large number of retail customers what we have. So probably the value creation is not only in terms of what SBI FM has been delivering on their schemes, it is also a fact that they have the backing of the largest parent company. And what we would like to assure all the stakeholders is that even before listing, this company was having the best governance practices of both SBI and Amundi. I think that's a value which we have created over a period of time to all the subsidiaries what we have. We almost have 18 subsidiaries, and the value creation what you mentioned, I take pride in mentioning that our investment in these subsidiaries is about 6,000 crores as we speak today. Hopefully maybe a month later the number will change. We are valued at 4 lakh crores. I think that's a value creation for all the stakeholders we have done. And in the process we also have created institutions of enduring value in the financial services. You would like to take the rest of the question? Or Olivier, you would like to join?
As for Amundi, we try to bring a little bit of our experience. As you know, we are a listed company. We have lived through this process a bit more than 10 years ago, being listed in Paris. So we had the experience and we tried to share it and to advise SBIFM in the process. And I think a second dimension we brought is probably during the roadshow, the contact with international investors. Of course, SBI and SBIFM has a lot of contact with international investors, but we could also help in that regard. And Olivier has been participating in roadshows alongside Chairman SETI in that regard.
All right, then there you go. So that's the key commentary coming in from the management of SBI Funds Management as well in terms of what the growth roadmap really looks like as well. But let's also move on and talk about Shadowfax that is facing a major lock-in expiry tomorrow. While investor selling remains a key risk as well, the stock trades at a discount to delivery and also retains analyst upside potential. It's quite the unlocked test that you're looking at when it comes to this one.
Exactly, and will the Shadowfax actually come out of the shadow from the lock-in expiry? That's the key question to be asked, and we'll try to understand. But what's the value unlocking test for Shadowfax? And that's going to happen in tomorrow's trading session because that lock-in expiry opens up. Of course, a lot of bullishness is there, but let's just do a revision of the important numbers. It listed at 8% discount, but the stock has doubled from its listing pricing. Also, it's 10% down from 52-week high. So, little bit of profit booking is definitely at play. But what happens tomorrow? 49% of this total shareholding unlocks and shares worth almost 6,300 crore rupees tradable. More volumes coming in. Will there be a follow-on buying or more sell-offs? Almost 37% is held by PE/VC investors. A big monetization risk in this counter, and further 22% stake, which is locked in, will be also coming in for the expiry. Looking at the numbers, how they stand, and I have done a comparison, a very interesting one with delivery. The EV sales, the 12-month forward numbers, if you look at it, Shadowfax versus delivery, that's still on the cheaper side. The non-promoter investors, just keep these numbers here. We see largely Flipkart is there, and Mirai Asset, Nokia, all of them having stakes. So there might be unlocked value shares coming in, and profit booking might come. So this is the numbers you should be tracking. These are the non-promoter investors. So this is the entire picture when we compare Shadowfax with delivery, and value unlocking might be there at play as well. Of course, the valuations also slightly on the higher side. So that is why there might be a sell-off, but that's what we are trying to show you. And the return potential also, largely stock has run up. It's around 11%, but see, the analysts are less, and delivery analyst coverage is more, and 17% retention. So a little bit of attractiveness coming in, especially for delivery. And this is the entire picture of Shadowfax, and let's see whether it will pass the unlock test or not tomorrow.
No, absolutely, and thank you so much, Sharath, for joining us with that update as well. So that is one unlock test that you're really watching out for, whether Shadowfax really comes out of the shadows as well. But let's also move on and talk about the RBI saying that banks have mobilized over $17.4 billion under the FCNRB deposit scheme since June 8 till July 17th as well, and highlighting some of the strong investor response to measures aimed at boosting foreign exchange inflows. In fact, banks have also raised $1.97 billion through the OFCBs and $1.34 billion via the ECB facility. You do have Nimit Dixit joining in with some more details when it comes to this one.
Absolutely. So since this special swap scheme launched on June 8th, the banks have raised $20.72 billion. Now, this is between June 8th and July 17th and can be broadly divided into three categories. First, the big category, the FCNRB deposits, have contributed $17.40 billion under this. After that, like you already said, banks have raised $1.97 billion via overseas foreign currency, and the ECB route has contributed $1.34 billion. Remember, the RBI had launched this scheme to attract dollar inflows and stabilize balance of payment. Apart from this, the RBI swap scheme has also offered full hedging cost support to banks, and it's covering 3 to 5 year FCNRB deposits that are raised by banks. The big bottom line here is that the RBI expects that the special swap measures, sorry, that's a tongue twister, to attract about 60 to 70 billion by September.
And thank you so much, Nimit, for getting us all of those details as well. Let's also wrap the show on that note. But as we do that, after a pause of 13 years, one of the most prestigious honors in Indian businesses is back now on July 26th. NDTV Profit brings back the Business Leadership Awards, celebrating the leaders, companies and entrepreneurs who helped shape India's economic journey. And the nominees for the IPO of the year are Meesho, a listing that showcased the strength of India's digital consumption story and the growing maturity of its startup ecosystem. Next up on the list, Grow, bringing one of India's most recognized fintech brands to public markets. This nominee captured the imagination of a new generation of investors. ICICI Prudential AMC up next, a landmark listing that highlighted the rapid evolution and growing importance of India's asset management industry. Let's also talk about the next nominee, LG Electronics India, one of the year's most anticipated public offerings, combining global brand strength with deep consumer trust in the country. And Lenskart is also on the list, a category creator that successfully translated consumer leadership and innovation into a compelling public market debut.
Superstar Stocks of the Day, presented by Tata Azura, हर रास्ते का सुपरस्टार.
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे. केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार. विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी.
We are over, Jimmy.
हे, लाइफ में स्क्रैचेस तो आएंगे. गाड़ी के स्क्रैचेस को तो कॉस्मो पीपी अब संभाल लेगा. आप अपना देख लो.
पर जब इंसान प्रकृति के साथ सामंजस्य को आत्मसात कर लेता है तो वो मधुर और लालन पोषण करने वाली बन जाती है। पी मार्क सरसों के तेल ने प्राकृतिक तरीके से सरसों के तेल को बनाया है शुद्धता और गुणवत्ता के साथ।
The mustard specialist since 1933. बरसों से सरसों।
कुछ तो बात है इस दिल में।
India Inc.'s most respected names chose India Inc.'s best and brightest.
These kind of awards and jury lineup, you are truly giving it the right weightage. The eminent juries who are here, and that itself speaks for the commitment towards highlighting the advantage which India is having. What I am looking for in this is that we should be awarding companies and individuals who have focused not only on growth but also on bringing good governance. Be part of jury and vote on the people, the men, the women, the companies in India who have the right stuff is a great opportunity for us.
Who will earn India's top business honors? Find out at the NDTV Profit Business Leadership Awards. India's unshakable news habit. NDTV.com.
Welcome, you're watching Small Cap Buzzers with me Varsha and my co-anchor Somit Sarkar. Well, let's see what we're going to cover on the Small Cap Buzzers today. Firstly, we're going to speak to the management of CSM Technologies. Well, the talking points or why we are speaking is on the back of strong numbers that they've posted, Q4 FY26 numbers, because they are recently listed company. So we've seen a sharp rise in Q4 margins. Is this sustainable is one thing that we want to know from the management. Order book, if you see, started around 1.5x of FY26 revenue. What's the execution timeline of the order book? We'll get the details from the management. Moving on, the next stock which we are going to discuss is Ashiana Housing. They have actually, the stock is buzzing because they've converted 224 units into booking of sales value of around 372 crore. In fact, the stock has seen highest level in 24 months. It's the biggest single day gain since Feb 2026. We're going to speak to our fundamental guest on Ashiana Housing. Next stock which is in focus is Nelka. So if you see a snap 2-day losing streak, the stock has gained 60% since Feb 2026. Then we'll also talk about Tarsan Products. If you see, the stock is buzzing. It's set to hit a 10-month high, gains over 55% in 25 sessions. What can be the key trigger and what's the outlook? We'll also speak to our fundamental guest. Lastly, we're going to speak about iFinance. The stock has seen new all-time high on a 3-day gaining streak and biggest intraday gain since April 2026. So this is all the stocks and the management that we are going to discuss on Small Cap Buzzers. Now, moving to the market, let's see what Nifty 50 is doing. It's down almost 65 points, hovering between 64 to 67 points. I would say it's trading at almost 24,175 levels. Let's pull up a sectorial heat map. Let's see which are the sectors in focus. Well, metal, realty and pharma, if you see, are in green, but over here Nifty IT is down almost 0.6%. Nifty energy is down, but pharma, maybe being a defensive one, is up. Nifty realty is also gaining. Nifty auto is up almost 0.22%. Let's see what mid cap 150 is doing. In a green today, yeah, it's almost up 0.26%, up almost 60 points. Let's see small cap 250, well up almost 70 points, 0.39%. So I mean, okayish day when it comes to mid cap and small cap. But Somit, which are the small cap stocks which are buzzing on the back of maybe volumes or Q1 numbers?
Well, a host of stocks. In fact, as you were mentioning, that the small cap index has been outperforming the benchmark here. It's up around 0.5% in trade. But which are the key stocks? It's Jindal Worldwide, which is up 19%, Vimta Labs, iFinance, Tarsen Products, Supreme Infra up anywhere between 10 to 13% in trade. In fact, Nelcast is also up 10% in trade. Now, on the flip side, if you look at stocks like Panacea Bio, Amal Limited, Commercial Sync, Turtlemint Fintech. Now, Turtlemint Fintech yesterday was up, but today it's down around 5%. Citipulse, Schneider Electric, President, National Standard, all these stocks are down close to around 5%. Sumit Industries, that stock has also locked into a lower circuit of 5%. Now, do remember that the rights issue is ongoing for Sumit Industries, so that could be one of the reason why the stock is down in trade. On the volume side, Ashiana Housing, very strong volume numbers that we are seeing, followed by Tina Rubber, Meghmani Organic, Rajratan Global and Nelcast. The volumes are quite strong in all these counters that we are seeing in trade today. Well, apart from that, it's SH Kelkar, Vishnu Chemical and Lords Mark Industries that has also been buzzing in trade. But let's move on to our management on the show today. That's Priya Darshini, Managing Director and CEO of CSM Technologies. Sir, welcome to the show. Firstly, to start off with, sir, if you could take us through the government and... Okay. Firstly, I would want to check with you on your order book. For FY27, where does your order book stand right now, and how much of the order book growth is something that you're expecting for this financial year?
Hi, good afternoon, and thank you for the invite to this show. So March ending, we ended somewhere around 360 odd crores, 358 odd crores. And ours is a multi-year contract, 2 to 3 years it takes to execute. So while we had a very strong order booking starting this fiscal, we are also very excited to sign new deals in the current fiscal.
Understood. Hi sir, Varsha this side, pleasure to have you. You know, the 358 crore order book that you have, I just wanted to understand, you know, before I go to financials, I want to understand how much of this is how much of this will you execute in FY27 and in FY28?
So typically, you know, as I just mentioned, our contracts are to be executed in multi-years. It takes 2-3 years, very less 5 years contract. Typically, an order that may have been signed last year, 40% of the revenue comes from 25 to 30% of the revenue, or sometimes 40% of the revenue that comes from the existing orders. From the new orders, we expect roughly around 25% of revenue. And of course, since we manage long-term customers, there are a lot of support and maintenance that goes on, change requests that keeps on coming. So roughly around 25% comes from there.
Revenue grew 14%, but there was a good spike when it comes to your EBITDA, which rose almost 57%. Just wanted to understand what are the key drivers behind this sharp margin expansion, and are these margin sustainable for FY27 as well? And I mean, what kind of guidance would you give when it comes to margins?
So margins are going to be sustainable in this fiscal. And last year, for improved efficiency, that the organization invested into a lot of R&D, a lot of investment into platforms that went. That has helped in increase the profit margins.
I wanted to understand, what's the guidance that you would want to give to investors for FY27? What's the revenue growth that you are expecting in this financial year?
See, revenue, we would be growing at a steady rate, how it has been in the last year. And our profits also are going to remain in the same double digits as we go forward.
Right, sir. So 70% was the growth that you reported in FY26. You are expecting similar growth rate, or this would come down given the high base now?
See, we should, as I explained, typically, we are a factor every year. It depends on the amount of order books that we have and the new deals that we sign, because it takes 2 to 3 years to execute projects. So we are having a very healthy order book, and we are expecting some good deals to be signed this year. So we will be growing more aggressively. And what we need to look out at the order bookings that we are going to have in the current year.
Also, if you could just tell me, given the fact that you deal with a lot of government clients as well, any delays in payments, any working capital issues that you're facing?
Delays in payment, see, government works, I mean, there are time that it takes to get approvals. And money is secured, but yes, sometimes we do face some delays in getting the realization, which is a part of our business because we've been doing this for good 28 years. So we know, how do we safeguard ourselves from liquidity point of view.
Okay. Also, you are looking to expand into international markets as well. Could you just take us through what is your current presence here? Say 2 years down the line, how much would international markets contribute to your order book, to your revenue, and which are these markets?
See, Africa, like we have been growing geographically and expanding geographically in India and in international markets. Africa remains as one of our largest bet for us. Our delivery center from Nairobi has been doing pretty good. Recently, we just picked up an order from the government of Malawi in the eastern part of Africa. We work in countries like Kenya, Mozambique, Malawi, Ethiopia, and on the western part, we work in Gabon, Gambia. So these are, we see a lot of potential in African countries because the spend in digital modernization is very high. They look up to India, of course, for the good work that has been done by our central ministry and the state governments. And there is a high replicability that we see. As a company, since we have invested, we had the first mover advantage long years back to focus on GovTech. We see similar opportunities coming out of African countries.
Sir, if you could also provide us the order book split between, government and private sector orders?
So typically, as we say that we are a GovTech focused company. So most of our orders will be from the governments, which is the state government, central ministry, authorities, or agencies, even in Africa also. So whether they are departments or ministries, the central governments or the state governments, we can say 90 to 10% split between the orders from the governments and to the public sector, private sectors.
Do you have any target to, change this percentage to where you want to take the private sector contribution to your revenue, maybe in, next 2 years?
See, we realize, and that's what we've been saying, that digital public infrastructure spend is going to increase year on year. Post-COVID, it has leapfrogged many years, and the governments will stay to remain to keep on modernizing, to keep on adapting IT for welfare of the citizens and the industries. So we tend to grow in this sector in different geographies.
Right, understood. Well, thank you so much, sir, for joining in and having a conversation with us. Pleasure to have you at our show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, this was CSM Tech, a recently listed company outlining the growth outlook for the next 2 to 3 years. But with that, let's also invite our fundamental guest for the show, Girish Sodani, who's the Vice President at Choice India. Girish, what's your view when it comes to CSM Tech, a recently listed one, into the government sector, more into the government sector, I would say. What's your take on this counter?
So again, come to when we talk about the IT segments, because these particular sectors heavy pressures from the obviously geographical tensions. But if we talk about the small cap now, the small cap and the mid cap companies are doing a very fantastic position in the terms of margins. Look at out the GSM also. So GSM is basically a very strong numbers in the terms of margins as well as the PAT. But again, there's a very red flag we talk about for the client perspectives right now. And almost 90% come from the government based. And especially the 10%. But the companies are performing in the terms of overall numbers as well as the margin propositions. The companies have a strong order book terms in the valuations also. So the earning perspectives is very strong. But if investor have the view of approximately 2 to 5 years on the lines, I think this stocks can be run out very good portfolio margins funds. And the long-term perspectives looks a 15 to 18% CAGR, what we are looking out for the small cap companies, especially CSM technologies.
Right, got that view. Well, viewers, time for a quick break. Stay tuned to NDTV Profit.
Superstar Stocks of the Day, presented by Tata Azura. हर रास्ते का सुपरस्टार.
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार. विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी.
We are over, Jimmy.
हे, लाइफ में स्क्रैचेस तो आएंगे. गाड़ी के स्क्रैचेस को तो कॉस्मो पीपीएफ संभाल लेगा. आप अपना देख लो.
याद है ना मैंने क्या सिखाया था? सिल्वर के लिए स्टर्लिंग मार्क, गोल्ड के लिए हॉलमार्क और
मस्टर्ड ऑयल के लिए सिर्फ पी मार्क.
इस बार तो माँ से भी बेहतर बना.
P-Mark, the mustard specialist since 1933. बरसों से सरसों. कुछ तो बात है इस दिल में.
This is India Inc.'s Roll of Honor, recognizing the leaders shaping India's growth story, where ambition, enterprise and excellence meet. In the presence of the Finance Minister, Nirmala Sitharaman. NDTV Profit Business Leadership Awards, 26 July on the NDTV network.
Welcome back. You're watching Small Cap Buzzers. Well, let's see what Tarsan Products is doing. Let's pull up that chart. The stock is up almost 10% in trade. Now, so several key factors or key triggers working for this company. First is, of course, the massive capex cycle is ending. Now, utilization cycle, I would say, is beginning. Near-term PAT may remain weak due to the high depreciation and interest cost, but FY27 is likely to be a transition year for the company. Bioprocess, cell culture are the key drivers when it comes to FY28. Now, talking about the bioprocess opportunity, well, the ramp up over here is progressing well. Production has already started. Cell culture opportunity, well, company has been speaking about this since last 2 to 3 years, and finally we are seeing this to be played out in favor of the company. They've launched products recently. Customers are currently conducting validation and trials. Significant demand ramp up expected around FY28. This cell culture will actually be the growth driver for Tarsan Products, if not. Capex story, 4-year expansion program is in final phase. Most facilities are already commissioned and operational, and the remaining facilities should be commissioned in H1 FY27. FY27 will be a peak year when it comes to depreciation. You might see some kind of pressure in earnings because of the high depreciation. Focus will be on utilization, cash generation and debt reduction overall. But stock is up on the back of strong volumes, but these are some of the key triggers that might work for the company. Girish, any view on Tarsan Products?
So obviously the fresh allocation is not advisable. Already a sharp momentum rally have already seen almost a 50% off from the low itself. In the terms of fundamentals, the companies are already remained growth. Basically, a top line remains a steady, almost a 121 to 124 crores in the quarter 4. So overall the steady business numbers we are talking about, but for the next propositions, at least if anyone or particularly any investor particularly hold this counter, then hold for the 350 to 380 levels for the 18 to 24 months, but not fresh allocations are advisable. Let's wait and watch for the 275 to 280 levels. If you got the opportunity, you can easily enter on that particular account.
Well, the next stock in focus is Ashiana Housing. The stock is trading, I believe, at its highest level in the last couple of years and its biggest single day move since Feb 2026. Even on a YTD, or even in the last 6 months, the stock has moved up 35%. What could be the potential reason behind this outperformance? Let's try and understand that with Parth.
Yeah, that's right. Ashiana has seen incredible momentum in trade today, and this is mainly because of two reasons. The first one is that the company has converted 224 units of booking of sale value of 372 crores, and second, they had a really good FY26 overall. If we look at FY26, then it was one of the strongest years for the company. They achieved a record level of bookings, collections, cash flows, and profit. So in all of the frontiers, it was a really good year for the company. The bookings were up over 25% year on year. The senior living segment that the company is focusing on continues to be the biggest driver for them. In fact, in FY26, that surged 55% to reach 570 crores. The collections as well touched over 1700 crores, while operating cash flow also saw an uptick of 34% to reach 577 crores. The construction on the execution front as well, the company is delivering well. Their execution saw a growth of 30% year on year. That actually makes their deliveries faster. So that is also a trigger that is giving us this kind of move. If we look at the Q4 performance, revenue was up 46% year on year, while PAT was flat at 21 crores. However, bookings jumped 124% year on year, and average realization also saw a growth of 70% year on year. Now, going forward, the management wants to carry this momentum into FY27 as well. They have already added 3 senior living land parcels in Maharashtra, which have a combined sales potential of over 3,200 crores. Now, they plan to add 5 more of these senior living launches over the next 2 years, which have a pipeline of 6,500 crores. These senior living packages are expected to cross 700 crores in FY27, and the key monitorable that the management has said going forward is that in FY27 they are targeting a pre-sales value of 2,200 crores. Now their execution and margin expansion will be also something that we need to monitor, because this senior living segment is a very high margin for the company, so it actually gives them quality earnings. So this is the overall outlook of Ashiana Housing, and we need to track that senior living segment, as I said, because it is something that will be their future earnings driver.
Right, Girish, how are you looking at this counter Ashiana Housing? As Parth was mentioning, that the senior living segment is something that could lead the outperformance in the counter.
So all the Ashiana's fundamentals looks very, very strong. So if we talk about the pre-sales numbers, total revenues, profit, PAT, amazing performance in the financial year 2026. In the terms, what the major reason behind it? It's more into they are working on the asset light model, joint development model, basically a collaborations model, we can say that. Apart from that, they are just shifted from the tier 2 cities to tier 1 cities now. So particularly this expansion is going to be improvised in the next few quarters numbers, but more looking out for the at least 2 to 3 years, because the whole developments and the pre-sales numbers should be reflected in the financial year 28 and 29 itself. So overall, the senior living proposition status, the Ashiana looks very, very strongly built up, but for the long-term perspective of at least 2 to 3 years.
Thank you, Girish. Thank you for joining us and giving us your perspectives on the stocks that we discussed. Moving on to our next stock, that is Nelcas. The stock has snapped its 2-day losing streak, but the interesting part here is that the stock has moved nearly 60% in the last 4 months. What could be the potential reason? Let's get in Jasmeet to understand more.
Samir, thank you for that. We do see that the overall stock momentum for this particular counter has been seeing a positive up moves over last 6 months to 8 months. That over last 1 year, the stock is down about 8% and still seeing that pressure. Now, in terms about the company operates into the business of manufacturing iron cast for various segments across off-highway and on-highway items. Now, if you look at the Q4 was a good quarter for the company, as we have seen the overall growth in terms of the revenue and EBIT margins as well. Further, we also note that the overall volumes also grew by nearly to nearly 25,900 tons versus 23,100 tons on YY basis. Further, if we look at the raw material, the overall input costs had increased in the quarter on the back of the tariff, which was impacted in the month of Jan and Feb. And so far, the company expects that to ease off and cool off in the coming quarter as well. Now, if we look at the other key highlights, the overall PIDA Priya, the particular plant of the particular counter, or this particular counter has hit the highest capacity utilization of nearly 35% in so far in FY26. Now, if you look at the management, they expect the overall increase of this utilization to go up to 40 to 45%. If you look at the key outlook, they remain pretty bullish on the particular counter. Management also expects that the overall revenue growth will be 10% CAGR over the next 4 years from FY26 to up until FY29. Further, they also expect the EBITDA per ton of realization to reach 18 rupees per ton versus the current price of 13.5 odd rupees. So we do see the overall management commentary being bullish, and that's the reason why the stock has been buzzing in trade at about 60 odd %.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Jasmeet, for all the details. So moving on, iFinance is one stock which is actually buzzing. If you see, has seen a new all-time high on a 3-day gaining streak. But let's bring in Shivam to give us more details.
Yes, the stock is witnessing a strong uptake as the company has released its business and strategy overview, in which the company has mentioned its guidance and outlook, starting with the first key metric, which are related to cost. So cost to assets ratio has been guided at around 8.25 to 8.75% for FY27, and going forward in next 3 years, it is expected to improve to 7 to 7.5%. In terms of cost to income ratio also, that has been continuously declining in last 4 years, and borrowing cost has also reduced below 11% to around 10.9%, and that has been also lowest in last 4 years. And also the company's main focus is on reducing the operational expenditure, which will further improve these metrics. In terms of branches, the AUM per branch has reached its highest level in last 4 years. Also, the company is planning to open 40 new branches in FY27, and also with their extensions. In terms of asset quality, the credit cost has been guided at 3.5 to 4% in FY27, which was 4.76% in FY26. So here also we are seeing a substantial improvement in the guidance, and also in terms of asset quality, that has remained stable over the years, which was supported by diversifications and data-led collections. In terms of growth outlook, the company has said that the AUM guidance will be around 25 to 30% for FY27, and it will reach around 24,000 crores within next 5 years. In terms of operation costs, that are set to fall sharply, and return on asset guidance has also improved to 4 to 6% versus 3 to 5% earlier.
Well, thank you so much, Shivam, for all the details. Well, viewers, after a pause of 13 years, one of the most prestigious honors in Indian business is back. On July 26, NDTV Profit brings back the Business Leadership Awards, celebrating the leaders, companies and entrepreneurs who have helped shape India's economic journey. And the nominees for Green Champion of the Year are, first, Lupin, demonstrating that healthcare leadership and environmental responsibility can advance together through measurable sustainability outcomes. You have Tech Mahindra, when the company is embedding sustainability into every layer of its business while driving responsible growth across global technology markets. Godrej Consumer Products, combining purpose with performance. This nominee has emerged as a leader in responsible consumer goods manufacturing. Godrej Properties, setting new benchmarks for sustainable urban development while reshaping India's real estate landscape. First Source Solutions, integrating ESG principles into business strategy and proving that responsible growth can also drive long-term value creation. Lastly, Mahindra Group, a pioneer in sustainable business practices. This nominee continues to lead through innovation, climate action and measurable impact. Well, viewers, this is all the time that we have in this edition of Small Cap Bazaar. Stay tuned for Ask Profit Afternoon Edition coming up next.
Superstar Stocks of the Day, presented by Tata Azura, Har Raste Ka Superstar.
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
We are over, Jimmy.
हे, लाइफ में स्क्रैचेस तो आएंगे। गाड़ी के स्क्रैचेस को तो कॉस्मो पीपीएफ संभाल लेगा, आप अपना देख लो।
माँ भी हमेशा पी मार्क मस्टर्ड ऑयल में ही खाना बनाती थी।
कुछ तो बात है इस दिल में। P-Mark, the mustard specialist since 1933.
सरसों से सरसों।
India Inc.'s most respected names chose India Inc.'s best and brightest.
These kinds of awards and jury lineup, you are truly giving it the right weightage.
I think it's heartening to see talent that there is across India Inc. We should be awarding companies and individuals who have focused not only on growth but also on bringing good governance.
Be part of jury and vote on the people, the men, the women, the companies in India who have the right stuff is a great opportunity for us.
For us, the biggest thing is trust. That's what we provide. We need leaders in India that can help take India being a global superpower.
We got a fantastic jury and we've left all decisions to the wisdom of the jury.
Who will earn India's top business honors? Find out at the NDTV Profit Business Leadership Awards.
Hello and welcome back to NDTV Profit. You're watching Ask Profit, the afternoon edition. My name is Puneet Zaveri, and over the next half an hour, we'll try and get to all your stock-related queries. Before that, just a quick check of how the markets are doing, because yet again, we've gone through the day for the Nifty 50 where we've seen some bouts of coming back and some reversal, but that hasn't panned out through the day. So we are now yet again below that 24,200 mark and continuing to monitor a day that's largely in terms of the Nifty expiry and continuing to find trends at this point of time, because while yesterday was a day where banking continued to be in focus, if you look at the heat map for the Nifty 50 today, you're seeing some moves, not too many and not too profound at this point of time to have a particular trend, to say the least. And within sectors also, while continuing from yesterday, HDFC Bank continues to be the biggest loser for today. You're seeing some buying on Shriram Finance, Bajaj Finserv as well as Indigo, and that has been as the case throughout the day. Ultratech on the back of good results, buzzing again at the up 1.2% as well. And we also saw some earnings come through over the day. Those like Bajaj Auto, numbers were good. It was higher than the estimates too, but still down about 1.21% odd. Now there could be some more speculation that you're watching out for in terms of the company as well as the brand new launch that the company has, but that'll be something to watch too. In terms of the sectoral heat map though, that is the other key factor. Now we've seen that banking as a name was in focus yesterday. Today though, the Nifty IT is now slipped to being the top loser in terms of the biggest sectors, and Nifty Metal also up almost just 0.7%. Advanced decline ratio also is the other key factor. Has been a very crisscross kind of a pattern over the last few days. Today as well, it's a similar one. Advance is just a bit inch up at this point of time as well. And finally, in terms of the BSE 500, those individual movers that we continue to track in the broader markets, seeing some moves on Jindal, which is up almost 18% now. Gujarat Fluoro up 6.5%, Arkin Chemicals up 4.7%, while seeing some losses on AB, Aditya Birla Sun Life Insurance, Avanti Feeds as well. Let's also pull up SBI Funds, the big IPO that got listed on the exchanges today. That was the other ones, opened at 7 to 8% kind of an upside, and has been there through the day as well. But let me welcome in our guest now for the show, Kunal Shah, AVP Alternate Research at Mirae Asset, Sher Khan, and Tapan Doshi, Research Analyst at CA-Tapan.in. Gentlemen, both of you, very good afternoon. Thank you for joining in. First question on Ashok Leyland, Shankar from Bengaluru. is holding shares at 159. Kunal wants to add more of this counter for a short term for the next 2 to 3 months. We are seeing some volatility back again on the crude side, and that has a direct impact on the CV space. But on the charts, is that visible?
Yeah, I think overall the setup is positive. Just needs to break about 157, 158 on the upside. Then the momentum will be back. So he has bought it at the right price. Continue to hold. No need to average at the current levels. Probably once the stock surpasses 158, 159, he can double down, and then the stock could go towards 165, 70 on the upside.
Right, got it. The other one that's in focus, and viewers, you can also call us for your stock related queries. The landline number for that is flashing on the top of your screen right now. Birla Soft is the other one. Sundaresh is holding shares at the 325 and currently is sitting in losses. He wants to know if he should still continue to hold this counter or probably book out. Tapan, good afternoon. What would you recommend on Birla Soft? In the IT space, of course, been a rank underperformer. Should Sundaresh wait for the Q1 earnings, then take a final call as to what to do?
Well, see, if you see for Birla Soft, no, the growth is much below compared to other competitors also, no, and the margin pressure is there. Again, the European demand is quite soft and client spending is quite cautious, and we know what type of margin pressure will be there in the future because of AI. So I'm not too much optimistic about Birla Soft. Then also he can wait for the quarterly result, but once it comes up, I think he should move out from the stock.
Got it. The next one, and this one's on Kenpla Sanmar. Ajay Kapoor wants a fundamental view on this counter. Wants to know if if he can buy into this as well. Tapan, would you recommend that?
Well, if you see this stock, no, this stock has been there for a time, but I think for a next guidance is not so great. Again, the chemical cycle is improving, but it will take some time. My take is no margin recovery will be slowly and gradually, and the global oversupply risk is there. So not to enter at this level at least.
Not to enter at the current levels. Got that view, but the next question, and this one is coming on. Power Mech, our viewer Aditya Kiran is actually holding these shares at 2962. Wants to know if it's a good stock to hold as well. Kunal, what are you seeing on the counter? He's currently sitting on losses. Any chance of a pullback to his buying price?
I think overall the setup is still strong. 2400 has been the demand zone for the stock. Whenever it has come towards those levels, we have seen buying interest. So continue to hold with a stop loss of 2400 on a closing basis. The real momentum will start coming up once the stock surpasses 2700 on the upside.
2700, got that view. The other question coming through, and this one's on Gabriel. Our viewer has bought these shares roughly at about 1098. So currently sitting on good gains.